cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
What is up, everybody, on a lovely Saturday? All right, so can everybody hear me okay? I hope so, because this show is going to be very loud, very clear, with my intention on not being loud, but being very clear. So good afternoon, everybody. I guess you can hear me. What's up? We got back early, so I decided to come on and talk about the 896 pages, timeline, busted Jenn, how to think like a cop with deception detective, and dispel all these crazy rumors that we have flying around. Now, I'm going to say hi to a couple people. I want you to know. Hello, sweetie Brooker. Sounds good. Thank you. We have to do a mic check 1, mic check 2, so that we can make sure I'm not talking to myself. Adam, one of my favorite new dudes. Adam drives Helen. Pretty sick intro. I can't lie. Well, thank you. What's up, Davey? Thanks for being here. Before I get started, I want to thank Bree for all of her hard work. Our moderator, Bree, in the coming days, you're going to see more as it unfolds. We're going to go through all the documents, but right now we're doing document leakage, so to speak. But I also have to say I've been paying attention to other channels, and guess what? There's so many false things out there, and so much misinformation, and so many things that people have missed, that they're going off on these crazy tangents that have nothing to do with the actual case. Because if you listen to the information and the whole information, not just your tunnel vision, you would know, and you wouldn't be saying stupid shit. Linda Joyce, High Crime Crew, watching on a beautiful Sunday morning in Hamilton, New Zealand. Yeah, I don't even want to use that word idiot. It's so overused on a certain channel that certain channel calls their wonderful people that support their show. And the only reason why we're here is because of you all. Not to say that word, please. So yeah, I'm getting messages, and I'm going to post this up because I can't say it. I can't talk or anything about that, but I'm getting message after message about this, and I can't even say this enough hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. And right now I'm going to tell you why, but I'm also going to give you other information about the 896 pages. All those pages are basically a compilation of everything that's happened into one, with a few details that have come out that are new. And we're here to clear that up. This week, I'll do a document dump for you, and we'll just go through the document with Bree's help that gave me a bunch of notes, page numbers. There's pages I can't show, but I'm still going to talk about it. So getting into it now, for those people that are leaving me messages on my page, please don't waste my time by telling me that you're 8 minutes in, now 18 minutes in, and I haven't said anything. There's a timestamp. Use the timestamp. Otherwise, get out of here. Okay, so it's my channel, and I like to talk to my viewers. What's up? Anita Drew, Krista Perry, arrest Jenn Soto. And if you think otherwise, then think again. And I'll tell you why. I'm not just going to tell you arrest Jenn Soto and not tell you why. I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it again. So I'm going to show you the timeline real quick, just in a huge nutshell, the timeline. Okay, so let's look at that timeline. I'm going to put myself down here so you can see the timeline. And as I show you just the timeline that we've been missing the whole time, and I have more information. I have all the pages. I have all the documents. I have everything that every other channel has. But I'm breaking it in a different way because I see everybody's questions on other people's channels, on my channel. I know what we're missing. You're welcome, JC. So here's the big pieces that we've been missing. Now, I want to tell you, number one, right off the bat with Jennifer Soto's own words, her incriminating herself by saying, number one, I sent Madeline Soto, I sent Maddie to bed with Stephan Sterns the night of her birthday. Now, Stephan Sterns was, and she did it frequently, she sent them to bedroom number 4. So with her own words, there's a first thing, child neglect that she should be arrested for. Number 2, she, in her own words, lied about what happened that day. So obstructing justice, hindering an investigation, whatever crime that is in Florida. We're going to say right now, child neglect and obstructing justice. Those are in her own words that we see on this paperwork at all times. Okay. Now, what I want to say is she has been telling the same story that Stephan Sterns has been telling, and this is called scripting. Her scripting has been so bizarre that everybody's like, what really happened that night? Because nowhere in the documents, nowhere in the 896 pages has Jenn Soto said to anybody, listen up, I wasn't there, I was sleeping, but Stephan came to me and he told me, hey, this is what happened. I took her to school at this time. This, she was wearing this. This is what he told me. Not once has she come and said on the documents that we've seen, not once has she said that I was using the same story he was because I trusted him. I'm sorry I trusted him. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have left it. Not once has she said that. Okay. So right out the gate, I'm telling you, and I'm going to say it 17 more times, folks. So if you don't like me repeating stuff, then don't leave messages on my channel because you're wasting the messages for people that have real questions. Okay. So I'm going to go over this timeline so I can bring myself back up and I can tell you the whole, what I have to tell you today about Jenn Soto and the things that I came here to talk about today. Timeline, Jennifer Soto, why she should be arrested. I'm going to clear up the hotel information. Okay, because there's all this information, but I don't understand the hotel. And I get it because I didn't understand it either. With a lot of reading and a lot of back and forth with Bree, I figured it out. So her birthday party, night of her birthday party, semantics matter. What does semantics even mean? Okay, here's the pieces we were missing. And this is what I said from the beginning. That's why I'm not quick to jump on these documents, folks. Okay, denied photos. She's a soulless abomination. Now, other channel, there's another particular channel that really begs to differ on this. So I'm going to bring this up as well, and I'll bring it up in a second. If you're a racist, it's not illegal, but does that mean it's right? If you're a homophobe, is that against the law? Does that mean it's right? If you send your daughter to bed with a man that has a wood every day and is into fet life and all these other kinky things, is that against the law? Well, actually it is. And it's still not right. All right. So here's the missing pieces we had. I've said this from the beginning, and this is why I didn't make it a big deal. I told you, and the other channels that are not paying attention missed it. Channels like True Crime Grizzly or Grizzly True Crime didn't miss it, and I'll show you in a second. Okay. I told you from the information with CM, the roommate, that Jenn would have gotten off work about 10 o'clock, 10:30. She'd have been home by 11 o'clock. All right. What is up, woof pack? I miss seeing you. Okay. Yeah, it is illegal, but I wanted to bring to your, because some channels are saying that nothing that she did was illegal. She didn't know it. She was 7 years, 8 years with Stephan, so she trusted him. Actually, they weren't together 7 or 8 years. They were very off and on. They were broken up. In between them, he had another girlfriend, and the other girlfriend actually broke up with him because he told her that he had wood when he woke up in the morning with Maddie. What's up, Pam Harris? Okay, so right or wrong, no wonder people are attacking people on their own channel when they're saying Jenn Soto is not guilty of something. Well, if I start calling you racist things, yeah, you're not going to arrest me. Are you going to like me? Absolutely not. Okay. So based off of a CM, the roommate, 10 o'clock, Jenn Soto would have gotten off work from her job at Disney where she was a wedding planner. Pay attention for you people that are saying dumb stuff. You have no idea what you're talking about. So I said this from the beginning. She made it home about 11 o'clock. We didn't know what happened, and we still don't know what happened between 11 p.m. and 7:30 a.m. when Maddie was in the car with Stearns and he was driving around dumping stuff, trying to come up with an alibi. But right now, here's the murder of Madeline Soto body timeline. 11 p.m. That is when Jenn Soto, in the 896 pages of documentation, told the detectives that she saw Maddie with Stephan Sterns at 11 p.m. when she got off work. And she said, I'm not feeling good. Go in the room and go off to bed. Right after her daughter's 13th birthday party, she didn't see gifts. She didn't know she was happy or not happy. Now, between 11 and 7:35 a.m. is when her life was taken, okay? So her life was taken between those hours. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on those, and we're going to go over it many times. I think she passed away anywhere between 4:30 and 5:30 a.m. It could have been 6. It could have been right before. Now, Stephan Sterns panicked. I absolutely do not believe that she was alive in the car, and I'll tell you more later. Rigor mortis doesn't set in that quickly. In certain instances, it does, but I'll tell you a personal story about a body that I saw passed away for over 3 hours, and that did not happen. The body was still able to move and limp. It wasn't hard. Okay, now I don't know what happened in between the time of the trunk. I'm sure between the time 9:40 when he put Maddie's body in the trunk and then moved it again around 1 o'clock. I'm sure that it was hot in there and a lot of things happened to the body. And then over the 3 days, a lot more things happened because we have the information where there was definitely rigor mortis, flies and orifices, and just nasty stuff. Okay. So I'm going to pull down the timeline 11 to 7:35 a.m. Maddie's passed. I believe it was around anywhere between 4:30 and 6 a.m. And that's why Stephan was so sloppy with the way he did things, is because he panicked, had to get her out of the house, got her out of the house, and did what he did. 7:35 to 9:40, Maddie's in Stern's car. He's driving around, doing stupid stuff, trying to make things up, coming in and out, whatever, trying to create an alibi. 9:40 a.m. to 1:15 p.m., Maddie is in Stern's trunk. So that means at 1:15 p.m., he's seen in the hotel garage. And that is a way different hotel garage, by the way, than the hotel that we've seen other times. There's 2 different hotels. I'll get into it. But the hotel he just went to a hotel on the 3rd floor and moved her body into his trunk so he could find a spot to dump. I hate to say it that way, but that's how it is. Okay. So the other hotel that's in there is the hotel that Jenn, the mother of Madeline Soto, that's maybe even aiding and abetting Stephan Sterns, is staying in a hotel on the 28th of February while they're raiding or looking at the possible crime scene for evidence. Jenn did not get her daughter a birthday gift. What else needs to be said about the type of mother she was? Seems like she was collecting lots of rent and work. And so that's another whole story. Again, it's not illegal to be a bad mom, but it is illegal to maybe aiding and abetting, definitely child neglect, and definitely obstructing of justice while she's telling a story, which we call scripting. What is up? And Savage Barbie, you are a savage. I like everything you said. Hi, Jay. I'm late, but I'm glad we're here. Going to catch up later. You don't have a lot to catch up on, but I did come out with a lot of information. Somebody was complaining on my messages. I even have time for that. I should have just ignored it, but I said, hey, fast forward it or check out the timestamps. Okay. So, yes, Lori, he brought her back to the house, left her in the car. She was definitely, in my opinion, deceased, like the cops think. Jay, just like you said, and I did say that. I said, you can go back to my old videos before anything was released, and I said 10 o'clock. She probably was off between 10:30 and 11. Jenn got home. I thought something happened, and maybe Jenn had snapped. I don't think that anymore, and I'm pretty sure Stephan Sterns did it. It was in the early morning hours. If strangulation was the case, I do believe it was the case because either a situation that he got too rough with, or she was saying no and he just went too far with doing that. I don't think he did it on purpose. I think she was getting too strong for him, too old, too big, and he just snapped. In my opinion, he did it too sloppy. Where he dumped her, all the things he tried to cover up was just too sloppy for this to be something that he thought about. Okay. Now, I'm sorry you didn't get a notification, but you're here and you didn't miss a lot. What's up, M. Shaw? All right. I'd have no love for Jen's plan to be at her trial. Yeah, there's so many things, and I want to stick on topic about what Jenn actually did. I want to tell you this before I show the deception detective video, which is called Busted, by the way. She's been busted many times lying. Now, I'm going to pull out this spotting a hoax. And this spotting a hoax from Deception Detective deck is fantastic because it's one of the things that sticks in your mind. And there's three big things on here. A hoax to me was the way Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns were talking and how scripted things were. Okay, so when you're spotting a hoax, when you're evaluating a story that seems implausible, which we're going to hear in a moment, consider the possibility of a hoax is crucial. Liars, knowing their story may not be believable, might overreact or fabricate evidence to seem more convincing. Okay. Number one, conclusiveness. Does the speaker express certainty about what happened despite limited evidence? Look, pay attention. We've heard a lot of interviews. We're going to hear another one on the body cam. Jenn Soto is very certain what Madeline Soto was wearing that morning. She even argues a little bit with Stephan Sterns and says that she tells Sterns, no, she was wearing black shorts. And then he snaps at her a little bit about hey, you weren't at her or about the birthday party. Well, I wasn't at her birthday party. And there's little things that you can see going on between the two. So conclusiveness is one of the things that I noticed in the video. It was very conclusive in other videos that Maddie wasn't coming home. And this is from Jenn Soto. We already know Stephan Sterns is guilty. Well, he's not guilty until proven so, but we know that he's been detained and he is accused by the police. Thank you, Phil Bertall, super sticker. That made me smile. Thank you so much because I'm real heated right now. Did Jenn actually tell the police her and Stephan were intimate? Of course they were. They've been for years, off and on. Absolutely. It's not in the documentation, but they absolutely have. And it was confirmed by the roommate that they were in a intimate relationship. They started out as friends, bonding over them being fatties. And I call them fatties because they're bad people and and it makes me laugh. They were fatties and they got gastric sleeves. And if you're paying attention, Mr. I have a theory and I'm right. Nothing else is right. You're all idiots. What you're saying is dumb. Shut up. Get out of here. To my channel members. Maybe the new job was a new wedding. Well, the new job was a wedding planner that Jenn Soto was doing. We know that. I know that for a fact. And I've been saying that since the beginning. What's up, Giselle? How's it going? I got a gastric sleeve, and that's fantastic. But you also didn't hand your daughter to the devil or bond with the devil and then lie about it. So, spotting hoaxes, I still have. The first thing was the conclusiveness, and you're going to hear. I want you to think of this as you're listening to this video, what I'm telling you, and then we're going to get into the first video. And I have lots today, so I'm 18 minutes and 59 seconds in. So, Miss Lady that came on my page to tell me I had no information in the first 18 minutes. There you go. All right. So number 2, emotionality is present. There is a mismatch between their displayed emotions and emotions reported in their account. Who here, raise your hand, thinks that there was a huge mismatch and disconnect between what the hell Jenn looked like and what she was saying versus what she was talking about? That did not match that her daughter was missing, or there was no sense of urgency. There was a complete mismatch between her displayed emotions and what was actually happening, folks. It was like she called the fire people to tell them that her cat was in the tree and she couldn't get the cat. Are you freaking kidding me? All right, last one. This one is I'm not sure it's present, but I'm going to say vagueness. The story is usually vague for the subject matter. Recognizing these signs can aid in discerning whether the story is genuine or hoax. Now, I'm going to say vague is going to be at night. It got vague. We still don't know what happened between 11 and 7:35 a.m. when the mother was in the house. All she says is I was asleep the whole time. I handed my daughter to the devil, and then I went to sleep. And then the next day, I went to a blood appointment to get my blood drawn. And yeah, my daughter was missing. My urgency that I emailed the teacher after hours, folks. Okay. There was also verbal leakage in a lot of this too. When Stephan Sterns says we had time to kill, that was a huge verbal leakage, but we already know he's a liar. Another thing is past tense. You remember I told you Jennifer Soto in the report uses past tense? That's going to come up a lot. It says murders, but I don't think that she was necessarily involved in the murder. I think she helped him tell his story to stay out of being arrested. So murders often refer to their victims in the past tense, reflecting their knowledge of the victim's death. If a suspect subscribes a missing person using past tense, it could indicate the suspect's killer or the person who knows something happened and there's a finality to it. Maddie and sisters were in the house for at least an hour and a half before Jennifer. So you're absolutely right, they were. And I'm sure there was many times that happened. All right. I don't believe this was a new job. I don't think it was a new job either. I don't think anything had to do with a new anything. All right, so let's get into it. We're 21 minutes in. I love you all for being here. Thank you so much. Evil lady laughing about that. Might have tats bar for rest, Jenn Soto. And I'm going to show you why. I'm not just telling you. We base our theories on logic and reason, not emotion. It's called passion, people. It's called passion. And I'm passionate that Jenn Soto gets arrested. Logic and reason, not logic and reason and ego. There's no ego that goes into logic and reason. Okay. So take your ego out, people, sir. And let's get rid of that. And let's go with logic and reason instead. And we can have passion. We're allowed to have passion. We don't all hate our jobs. For the ones that hate our jobs, those are the people that like to call people idiots and say bad things and then make up theories when they don't hear the whole story. So we're going to play Deception Detective and we're going to see what he has to say about Jenn being busted on body cam. All right, let's go. Logic and reason, people.
Does Jenn Soto have guilty knowledge? I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis, and this channel exposes lies and manipulation. Today, we'll analyze body cam footage from the day Madeline Soto went missing for signs that her mother, Jenn Soto, knew what happened to her.
Are you able to pick up all 931, please?
I'm currently working possible signal lake. Can I hold off on that?
This number from the other one?
26. Of course. Do they speak English?
Yes, this is Mom.
This is Mom? Okay.
Hey there.
Hi there.
Hey there.
Hey there. What's going on?
Hey there. Now, keep in mind, folks, look at that wonky face. A lot of people I see in other people's on other people's chats or pages or theories or even Reddit saying that Jenn Soto has a low IQ, and that's a good possibility of what's going on. She doesn't have a low IQ. She doesn't have any kind of mental incapability other than like she has anxiety. Everybody has ADHD nowadays. I don't know if she was diagnosed with that, but nothing is wrong with how smart or not smart she is. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she's very cunning in how she's doing it, and she's playing dumb. Yeah, Dee Dee is incredible. We're going to listen to him break the crap out of her, break it down, and just break it down. That's it. That's all I can say. If you're a naysayer, I just told you I told you two solid things that she could be arrested for. Okay. Two very solid things: child neglect and obstruction of justice by telling this unusual story that's scripted, and she is lying to the police. You can't lie to the police because they would have already found out faster what happened had she led them. Apparently, no mother's instinct either, right? But that's not against the law to not have mother's instinct. It's not against the law to be dumb. It's not against the law to be um just I've been with him for 8 years. I trusted him. He was like family. That's not against the law. But what's against the law is lying to the police. And what's against the law is child neglect. Okay. So right then, right, those are two things that she should already be arrested for. But I know the cops are working and I'm being patient with them.
So my daughter was dropped off close to school this morning, but never made it. I went to pick her up from school.
I'm sorry, one second.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
When someone's asked an open question like, what's going on? The answer can be very revealing because whatever the person says first is their priority. In this case, Jenn didn't say, our daughter is missing, or our daughter might have run away, or we can't find our daughter. Instead, it seems like she was starting to build her narrative, her alibi. Well, we dropped her off at school and I haven't seen her since. Ever since the beginning, I've thought that this story about dropping her off was scripted. And as time goes on, it seems like I've been proven correct. And the reason I thought it was scripted was because Jenn was tripping over herself to get that information out there. And she said it almost verbatim every time she recited it. There's also one other inkling of deception.
Absolutely. She said it verbatim every time, every interview. There was always the we in there, not even with the police in these 896-page documents does she ever say that Stephan told her that story. And so she repeated because she didn't want to get in trouble because she was actually sleeping. And he's her partner. And he said, hey, this is what I did. And so that's where she got the story from. Never did she say that. So unusual details in the unusual details card in the deck. When liars plan out a false story ahead of time, the process is known as scripting, which is what I've said the whole time. It's like she's been telling a script. Scripted stories tend to be over logically and bland, lacking unusual or sensory details. For the liar, the strategy makes their story appear more believable and easier to recall. Therefore, if the narrative lacks unusual details or developments, it might indicate it's scripted. This has been scripted the whole entire time, and not once has she told any police officer that he filled in the blanks for her, and she's sorry that she trusted him. Nothing of the sort. Absolutely running game. And one more time, just because it's not against the law, some of the things, being a bad mother, not checking her underwears when she was doing laundry, not having a mother's intuition, that's not illegal, but it's not a good thing to do. And it's not something that's going to ever go away. And it's going to chase after her forever. And she's another Casey Anthony, in my opinion. She's going to be hiding. Okay. So it's not illegal for me to start calling you racist names or you to start calling me homophobic names. Am I going to like it? No. Are people going to like you? No. All right, let's go.
Here, which can be found in my deception deck, my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation. And that is passive voice. Jenn did not say who dropped Madeline.
All right, passive voice. I have to tell you, Mr. Deception Detective, if you're watching this, I don't have a passive voice in my deck. I think I got an older deck and you came out with a new one, so I'm missing my passive voice in my deck. So maybe I'll email you about it. But passive voice is Stephan Sterns the entire time. So we are not just talking about Jenn Soto today. We're talking about everything, the timeline, the taking of the life of Maddie, filling you in on the hotel, all the questions you have, and then I'll even do a Q&A at the end so that we're very clear on my thoughts and what I think and why I think it, because it's in the documents.
Off at school. She simply said Madeline was dropped off. Liars frequently use passive voice to minimize their involvement. If the subject is missing from a sentence, especially in cases where this omission results in grammatical awkwardness, or in this case, situational awkwardness, where I would expect her to be very detailed about who dropped Madeline off because that's the last person who allegedly saw her alive. It may indicate that the speaker is attempting to evade responsibility. In this case, Jenn could have been trying to hide the identity of who dropped Madeline off, but as we know now, what she was really doing was trying to hide the fact that nobody dropped Madeline off. Does this mean that every time someone uses passive voice, they're lying to you or they're trying to minimize something? Of course not. It all depends on the context.
Are we looking for another kid or?
it does depend on the context. They were looking for another kid that day. That's why they were so slow. Keep in mind, for you people that don't know the whole story, this momster didn't even call 911. She was in the background. Her sister, Stephanie Soto, called twice, and her mom, Yolanda Zambrano, which is Maddie's grandma, called the third time and was very irritated and very on point with what a person would be when they're looking for a missing person or wanting urgency. Very upset, very. While Jenn was in the background and her sister was like, well, what was she wearing today? Jenn was in the background, probably pacing back and forth and giving her nonchalant details. All right. So if you didn't hear those 911 calls, not one came from this woman. Not one time did she go to any funeral that anybody's held. Not once has she gone to the vigil. She didn't go to there's one vigil, and not once has she been spotted at the memorial. Now, somebody did leave a memorial message. One of the Soto family left a message, and I don't want to say her name, but it was a Soto. It wasn't Stephanie Soto. She has another sister, and they left a message, which means that they were at the vigil. Also, 555 is an angel number. I just hit 555 on my viewers. That means Maddie's looking out for everybody, and she wouldn't want arguing, and she would want the story straight. But also, let's say a prayer for Maddie and remember that we're here for justice for Madeline Soto, complete and utter justice. We're not here to fight with each other. We're here to get facts out, reason, logic, and put the people behind bars that need to be behind bars. Yeah, Jenn did not call the cops. Absolute false, false, false. And again, it's not against the law to not call the cops. It's not against the law to not go to your daughter's funeral. It's not against the law to not go to your daughter's vigil. It's not against the law to not check your daughter's clothing and check her underwear. It's not against the law. Maybe if you think you trust someone to send your boyfriend that's into kinky fetish stuff that you're also sleeping with to go send him to the room, it may not be against the law, but it's not what a mother should do.
We have is
Looking for another one.
alright, so people are still on the team, let's put that out in the household location. How long?
I'm trying to get there right now.
Absolutely.
Okay. So she was supposed to be dropped off at school. Didn't make it to school.
Didn't make it to school. I went to pick her up from school today,
Okay.
and she never came out. They announced it over the speaker, and I'm just like, maybe she walked here because sometimes she'll walk here to this office.
Mhm.
I came here, nothing. I went back to the school, they were closed. I got an email from the school saying she was absent, but I also messaged her teacher, and he looked at her entire attendance today and saw that she was completely not at school today.
All right, so this is the story. Just remember, it's every time. And yes, Mr. DD, I have an iPhone. I can gift you a download, the new Deception Deck. That would be amazing. I absolutely have an iPhone, and I would love the new Deception Deck app. I'd appreciate that. I use the deck all the time, and I'm always promoting it. So if you would send that over to me, I would use it like the Bible. All right. I appreciate you for this video, and just another person that is very highly qualified saying that they see right through Jenn and the reasons why. Many qualifiers in this video as we go. I love it. I love that you're here, and even though I know you're not particularly doing true crime like we do all the time. That's all I absorb is crimes. You're on point with your stuff. So yes, DD, I would love that. I appreciate that. And let's listen to him. Thanks for being here today.
Either.
Okay.
So she never made it.
Okay. What's her name?
Madeline. Madeline.
Madeline. Last name?
Soto. S-O-T-O.
S-O-T-O?
Yeah.
Date of birth?
February 22nd, 2011.
February 27, 2000.
22nd.
All right. You could already hear Stephan trying to control the narrative. I'm sure he's already controlled the narrative a bunch of times. Does that mean that he controlled the narrative and she was scared? Absolutely not. She was absolutely not scared, but he did tell her the story, and she keeps effing repeating it.
Oh, sorry. 22nd,
2011.
2011.
Just her 13th birthday.
13.
1480 Charlie Worldwide. What's the name of the single lady?
Madeline Soto, age 13. I'm trying to get a clothing description now. What was she last seen wearing?
Like the guy Charlie Worldwide. People hit my call 931.
Green hoodie,
Green hoodie,
white Crocs.
white Crocs,
Either blue or black pants.
I think black shorts.
Black shorts.
Yeah.
black shorts. Okay. Black shorts. All right. Do you know if she has
By the way, she was wearing neither. Stephan Sterns was closest because she was wearing jean shorts and a green hoodie. But Jenn was certain that she was wearing black shorts. She even snapped at him and look at her face. He's controlling the narrative. He told her the story. She still hasn't said it yet. He still doesn't even remember she's wearing, but she was wearing jean shorts. So he was closest. I don't know how she thinks she knew. She didn't see her that morning, right?
Like friends in the area?
She does, but she doesn't know where they live.
She doesn't know where she live. Okay.
On the channel, we've analyzed multiple cases of missing and murdered children, like Madeline McCann, Summer Wells, John Benet Ramsey, Sebastian Rogers, William Turrell, and now Madeline Soto. And in all these cases, guilty parents tend to do 4 things that indicate to me that their story is a hoax. I won't go through all of them here because I've done multiple videos about how to spot a hoax. But the very first thing on the list is conclusiveness. Parents who know what happened to their children show no curiosity about it because they already know what happened. Whereas innocent parents, like the mother of Gannon Stouch or the parents of Chase Martins, are never conclusive about anything because all options are still on the table, similar to how when I make a video, I never state conclusively whether or not the parents are guilty because I can never be 100% sure. That's why I have the metaphor of stacking my poker chips. So when Jenn says conclusively that Madeline does not know where her friends live, that is a red flag to me. An innocent person would be considering all options. Well, maybe she figured out where one of her friends lived. Maybe she went to one of their houses and is hiding. Maybe that's why she asked Stephan or me or whoever allegedly, according to our made-up story, dropped her off at school to stay a block away from the school. The point is, Jenn is far too conclusive here to be innocent, in my opinion.
I asked all of them.
Okay.
And if you didn't hear that, she's far too conclusive to be innocent, in his opinion, and in my opinion as well. And all of the interviews, she was very positive about many things and conclusive about many things, and there was many finalities. Reticence is one of the big keywords that Deception Detective uses, and that I believe could be used in this many times. Liars tend to keep fabricated parts of their story short to minimize risk of making mistakes. If the climax of a story, particularly one involving fantastic events, is surprisingly brief, maybe it's a sign of fabrication. And that could be in all of her, every single time you see her in a video, it's this, end of story, done. All right. So, yeah, there's so many things that I don't even know how anybody could defend her.
Is this like, did she like have any places that you guys know that she'll usually be at? Any friend's house? Any places that like she likes to hang out?
Not typically.
No.
Not typically?
No.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Let me see if we get some.
Thank you.
No problem. And what school she goes to?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Hunters Creek Middle? All right, cool. 125. Do you guys have
Another person was saying maybe she was abused by him and scared of him, and he was controlling the narrative. He's cracking his knuckles. Well, guess what, folks? On February 28th, 2 days after Madeline was already passed away, she was in a hotel. She checked into a hotel with him and his father. They checked into 2 separate hotels, her and Stephan in one, and the father in another. I don't have the name in front of me, but it was not the Holiday Inn. The Holiday Inn was the hotel where he went to the 3rd floor, pulled Maddie's body out, and put it in the trunk. The other hotel you see in the evidence that comes up is the one that she checked into with Stephan Sterns and his dad. They had 2 separate rooms, but Jenn and him were in one. Okay, so she was over there in the hotel while they were searching her house for, it was essentially a crime scene at this point, which we still don't know because we don't have the information. All right, so that's how scared of him she was.
Do you have a picture of her? Can you airdrop it to me?
Yeah, I know. Let me see which picture. I don't know which picture.
You recently called from the birthday party, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't there, so I had to look at what's up.
I'm surprised Dee Dee didn't call that out, and he may soon. She just snapped at Stephan Sterns. He said, "You have birthday party pics," and she says, "Yeah, but I wasn't there. I just got to look it up." So she's obviously looking on somebody's social media to find a picture of Maddie from the birthday party. Do you guys want to hear that again? Let me just go back for a second. How she snaps at him about not being at the birthday party. No means, no way this lady is freaking being manipulated or groomed by this monster. She willingly handed her daughter over to him. And that night in particular, it was her 13th birthday. And she said, "Happy birthday, Maddie."
And what school she goes to?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Hunters Creek Middle? All right, cool. Not too far.
Good
Do
question.
you have a picture of her? Can you airdrop it to me?
Yeah, I know. Let me see which picture. I don't know which picture.
Anything recently, probably from the birthday party, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't there, so I have to look at.
Yeah, but I was there. She said, I had to look it up. She got defensive about not being at the birthday party. Why? Because her mom didn't want her there, I'm sure. She said, if Stephan's,
Go ahead.
no Stephan,
That's
no
what I'm about to do
Jen,
right now.
no go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bree.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Is this a good enough picture, or do you need a whole
Yeah,
body
that's
picture?
One of the core tenets of statement analysis is that we always speak based on everything we know. So sometimes when we're trying to answer a question deceptively, the truth slips out. It's simply a consequence of memory being more powerful than imagination. When this happens, it's known as leakage, and it's probably the closest we'll ever get to mind reading.
Yes.
So it's no surprise it features in the deception deck, as well as one of my most popular YouTube videos, How to Spot Guilty Leakage. So why do I say all this? Well, I think when Jenn offered to show the cop a full body photo of Madeline, that may have been leakage that she knew the way they would recognize Madeline was by her body, instead of how you would expect a missing child to be recognized, which is by their face, for example, in a crowd or on the news or in a ransom note as a proof of life. The thing with leakage is, of course, it's cumulative, so we can't look too much into this. However, my instinct tells me that Jenn's offer to show the cop a full body photo of Madeline is not something we should ignore. And since we're nearing 100,000 subscribers, and thank you to everyone who subscribed, I'll just give this caveat once again, since I like to give it every couple of videos. What we do here on the channel is teaching you how to spot lies and manipulation so you can use these skills to make better decisions in your own life.
And this is making us make better decisions about all of these cases, because this case is just going to be another case at some point, and we're going to be on to the next case. We're not going to forget this. We're going to follow it through, but we've got 20 more cases coming up in the next 6 months. So you remember this when we see the next mom that acts like this, does this, says these things, and verbal leakage was all over this case, and it's still all over this case. And I believe she gave her a picture of her full body because she knew they were looking for a body. Absolutely, she did. There was too much finality to not have known. I wonder if Jenn had a, that's a good question. We haven't heard anything about that. I know she did have the ashes, and she ended up giving Tyler Wallace, which is the biological dad, some of the ashes. So she was there for some of it, but I'm not sure. None of that's in the paperwork.
When it comes to locking people up in prison, we need to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. All that said, if Jenn Soto were to move in to my neighborhood, you would not see me walking up to her porch with a welcome basket.
I got you. Okay, where's the photo? Right there.
It's on that side.
That's fine. You see that?
I saved it to my
The
phone.
whole,
You saved it to your photos?
Yeah, because
Perfect.
a whole show today, folks. We're just getting started. I'm upset. I'm upset about all that's been going on while I've been hanging out with the family. It
I'm gonna
makes
send
me
it out right now. To my
mad.
guys.
Thank you very much.
And mad turns to passion, folks. Thank you, Pink Banjo.
The body cam footage is split up into parts, so now we're starting part 2. You may have noticed it's also redacted. That doesn't affect my analysis because the audio isn't censored. If you want to watch the full unredacted version, check out friend of the channel, Guilty of Crime, who's uploaded the full unredacted body cam after this.
I appreciate that.
So they called city, I don't know when, but whenever they, what did you say that what you call? My question is not, why is it not a code 3 when it first came out? Yeah, so that last time she was seen, it was early this morning, like 7 o'clock. That's what I'm about to see. I'm about to go check. I just try to get as much information now of her clothing description, send it to DM.
Okay, so the cops are talking about the timeline, which I gave you now. They're trying to figure out their timeline, and I think they did a fantastic job, folks. Absolutely fantastic job. And Olga, I'm glad you mentioned this. On her interview number 2, she subconsciously told us that her and Madeline used to go to St. Cloud area where she was disposed. Can I tell you something else? She used to live right by where Maddie was disposed. And you know who else knew that? Stephan Sterns. So I have her old address because I pulled up a record of Jennifer Soto to see if she had anything. We saw that a while ago. Jenn Soto did have a domestic violence charge on her from many moons ago, and she lived right near that dump site in St. Cloud. Who else would know that? Jenn Soto. Who else would know that? Stephan Sterns. That's very odd to me. Very, very odd. So I'm glad. Yeah, wow. I'm glad that you brought that up. Yes, what? Her address was in St. Cloud near the dump site, folks. Yes, pay attention because other channels are paying attention to what I'm saying. It's the ones that have the giant egos that can't get off their soapbox long enough to pay attention to what other people are actually saying. And I'm going to pull that up in a minute after this of even Grizzly True Crime, who is the queen of true crime, is going to shout out guilty of crime for the roommate video, which helped her also tie together what the heck happened here. And I'm going to talk about Santa too. I don't believe any of that. One of the people on the witness list that you're not even going to know is coming. There's a Gerald and Barbara Belmore interview. Gerald is just like Santa, folks. There's another Santa right in the neighborhood. They're on the witness list and they were interviewed. So Santa Smana is just another pedo, however you want to call that. I don't want to even say it the right way. Thank you, Ellie. I've been saying all this for a long time, so a lot of this information is not that new to me because we've been talking about it. Now we just have documentation. Love Gizela. Me too. She's the best. She's the queen of true crime.
Diaz has a hit in like a big area full of kids. So if you want to help me out with this
There
one,
you go. Chomo.
from my signal expert.
Wait until I tell you this one. Who's too close for comfort? She did.
Does she have a phone number or phone?
She does, but she left it at home today. I have it.
You have it.
And I've already gone through her messages.
Okay. How about, does she have like Apple Watch?
She's got a device. The only device she's got on her right now is her school laptop.
A school laptop? Is that trackable? I don't think so.
It should be. If the Wi-Fi's turned on, it'll try to connect to the Wi-Fi.
Once again, we have more conclusiveness from Jenn. Well, the only device she has is her Apple Watch. Her computer can't connect to the internet. These are all too conclusive, like I said, for someone who doesn't know what happened. And the beauty here is we have the other people in the room for contrast, because they are acting how innocent people act. They're thinking, well, can the laptop connect? If it's near Wi-Fi, wouldn't it be able to connect? Which is completely the opposite of what Jenn is doing, where she's immediately shutting down potential avenues search. And since we're back onto conclusiveness, I'll just go through the 3 other bullet points in my hoaxer checklist for any new subscribers who aren't familiar with it. Hoaxers typically are overly conclusive. They're vague about the money shot. In other words, the main event of the story. They're reticent about the money shot, and there's a big difference between their displayed and their reported emotions. And I'll explain that more after this next segment.
All right. And onto that, reticent is one of my favorite new words. Reticence. It's just got this finality to it. I love reticence. It's one of the 52 cards in the deck. Deception Detective brought me to this word. I did not know this word. I've heard it, but I didn't know the meaning as well as I do now. Deception Detective says if you're going to hide a body, you'll go somewhere you know. Exploring new places equals too risky. Plus, the risk is not finding a good spot to do it. And you're absolutely right. It's somewhere you know. And when I found out that Jenn lived in St. Cloud, right by that area that very close. It seemed like he was heading that. Stephan Sterns was heading that way because he knew where they used to live. He was going to dispose of Maddie, but in a better area. But instead, he got a flat tire. And you're absolutely right. He didn't find a good spot to do it, however, because he got a flat tire. But he did know the area, and so did Jenn. So many things about this. But if you have tunnel vision, like we're going to see in a little while, because I am going to go over the teachers and all that in a bit. Thank you, Dee Dee, for confirming that. That's why I wanted to bring that up. All the stuff that I talked about many moons ago is coming out now. And I wish everyone would go back when I'm like taking a break and watch those videos, because it's all already in there.
Possibly.
Thank you
She got
again.
dropped off. She was like, she's embarrassed by his car. So she didn't want to be dropped off at school. She wanted to be dropped off like half a block away so she could walk.
It's an interesting, she's in face.
But
Yeah.
he dropped her off a block away and drove away.
Did she ever go to school though?
No, we called
She
school.
was walking in that direction. She was rifling through her backpack, just looking for something. I thought maybe she was just looking for headphones before she got the walking on.
Yeah.
But she was just kind of, shambling over in that direction. It looked the same as any other morning.
Okay.
What was the last thing you asked?
If she went to school, maybe this was
So I got confirmation from the school that she never made it. They sent me an email saying
Yes.
she didn't make it. But I also spoke to her or emailed one of her teachers directly, and he looked at all her attendance for all her periods and told me she'd make it at all today.
Say it again? No.
The finality of this is just unbelievable. And I'm glad the police pick up on this very soon. I'm glad they pick up on her changing the tents. Once they pick up on the changing of tents, and once she tells them that Maddie and Stephan Sterns were sleeping together, they already started to know. Yes, absolutely. I have in the paperwork. When I do the document dump with you guys, we're going to go over that. He tossed the dumpster. He had a flat. He tossed the tire in the dumpster. He was just all over the place, folks. We're going to go over that, but it's called, I'm going to do a next one called document dump, and we're just going to go through that so you guys can't get enough of my voice just talking about the document. Right now we're doing different things. I'm telling you the timeline, and we're going over DD, why he thinks that Jenn is busted, and all of the things that liars do, and how to think like a cop. So for other cases, we can do that. Now, a big thing was Jenn changing her tense. Liars often fluctuate between past and present tense, reflecting a shift from recalling actual memories in the past tense to fabricate details in the present tense. If a statement suddenly switches to present tense, it may indicate fabrication. And that's how cops think. And they thought like that. It's in their report. So thank you. All right, let's keep going.
She's supposed to have a book bag. She was supposed to go to school, but didn't go to school today. Oh, okay. All right.
Battery FGOA 212319 Turtleback. Third party for Saturday.
Okay.
Claims
All right.
children by two juvenile males. Your question
Say again?
only answer code 219.5.
I'm trying to figure out secondary spots, but so far negative on anything. Yeah, you could be 51 me. All right, cool.
While we have a break from the interview, I'll quickly address Jenn's body language, since I've had so many comments about it, especially after my first video of her news interview, where she was shaking uncontrollably. As I've said in previous videos, body language is useful for overt communication, like I'm doing right now with my hands in my face, or for detecting involuntary reactions, like if I fold my arms, I might be cold, I might be nervous, but it's not.
And hers was nervous for herself, I believe, and scared. And I was going to bring that up, but since DD did, and I saw the other message, Jenn talks about Maddie and says she feels like she can't breathe. What's the likely cause of death? Asphyxiation. Hashtag leakage. But now we know, DD, we have a leakage in the system, and strangulation is named as the COD. So when she says, I feel like I can't breathe, we know the likely cause of death. We think that it's right. Again, it shouldn't be leaked, but it's out there. We heard it on court TV. And normally when you can't breathe, you don't stop to tell someone on camera when you're pleading for your daughter, I feel like I can't breathe. You just can't breathe, and you stop talking and you're hyperventilating. You don't say things like that typically. So there's another huge red flag. Thank you.
useful for spotting deception. When it comes to this, body language is simply too subjective. Someone who is embarrassed or ashamed by telling the truth might act and move just as suspiciously as someone who is lying. And even if you believe body language has some deception detection value, I encourage you to ignore it anyway, because the risks of being misled or manipulated by body language outweigh any benefits it could possibly have. And when it comes to spotting hoaxers, that is what I mean when I say there's a difference between their displayed and their reported emotions. For example, people who I consider to be sociopathic and psychopathic, like Amanda Knox, O.J. Simpson, and the Wells, are able to act very sad and very convincingly. And if you go by their body language, you might actually get fooled by them. But if you listen to their statements and ignore their body language, you should detect a difference between the way they're acting in front of you to manipulate you and what they're saying. And what you will notice is that psychopaths or guilty people tend to forget to include the emotions in their story. In this case, Jenn hasn't told us that she was running around frantically looking for Madeline. In fact, at the very beginning of this body cam footage, when she talked about coming to the shop, she said that she went over to the shop to check if Madeline was there, instead of picking up the phone and calling and saying, "Hey, is my daughter over there?" So no matter how nervous Jenn acts now or shifting side to side, it's not going to influence my opinion of her innocence or her guilt. And if you want to see my full thoughts on this, check out my
Right. And yeah, go to Deception Detectives after. And if Bree, if you can drop a link for him, you guys subscribe if you haven't already. He's a practicing attorney. And Court TV leaked Blunt. They did not leak the blunt force trauma last month. That was another source that was sent over to me. And they said that it was also incorrect about Stephan Sterns being at the birthday party. They had a picture of him in the balloon. So Court TV is not always right. I'm not always right. I will fall on my sword when I am incorrect, and I'll tell you, hey, I got it wrong. It was a person that sent it to me that was that I trusted, and they got it wrong. We're all human, and humans are wrong. But what we can't do is go back and correct ourselves. So I corrected myself with the balloon, and I told you Stephan Sterns was not at that birthday party. And now with the paperwork, we know that. Vinny kind of mentioned it the other night, but he didn't say, he didn't mention the balloon. He just mentioned that Stephan Sterns wasn't there, which is fine. He's a big news station guy. I don't blame him. He's not going to say every time and apologize. I'm a YouTube channel and I want to apologize. I'll apologize if I get source information and it's incorrect. Jenn said she went to her mom's work. Her mom says she called. I'm not sure what that means. Jenn went to her mom's work and the mom called and the aunt called 911. You know what Jenn did? She emailed the teacher after school hours, which I know wouldn't work because teachers don't even check their emails until maybe the next day. Maybe if I have the teacher and the principal and all the after school program, I have them on my speed dial on my stars, and I text them and they text me right back. Okay. So I know that they don't answer emails. The emails are for work only. So she emailed because there was a big finality to this, folks. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to say she was involved with or snapped and did the death of Madeline, but she repeated that story and she knew something was very, very wrong and that Maddie wasn't coming home. Even when she said, bring Maddie home, no matter how it is, she right then and there, when she said that, she knew.
video, can body language expose lies?
Sector 4 units prepared a copy of local OPD at
Yes, that negative on that hit at the park.
Way,
So
reference date 21 to a vehicle. Pursuing local, reference date 21 to a vehicle.
I think black
shorts.
shorts.
Unknown male, gray hoodie, and
Sausage,
black
black
pants, black
shorts, and
ski mask,
white
and black
Crocs with
gloves.
socks.
No further information. 1064, 1946.
and when was the last time you seen her? Do you know the
Thank you for gifting the membership, Bobby. One, Guilty of Crime membership, which gives you Crime Crew official access. Now, I've always said that they've got the same stance right now. They're locking people out so they can block themselves out of the story, and they are nervous for themselves. When that phone call comes in, they're nervous that they're going to get a phone call saying they found the body. It was verbal leakage when Stephan Sterns said they are out beating the bushes looking for Maddie. He knew that he had put her in the bushes. There's many verbal leakages from him, and we now know he's the accused killer of Madeline Soto and all the other things that he did to her, which Jenn handed her daughter over. Again, I'll say it a bunch more times. If you don't like listening to what I have to say, don't listen, folks. If I start calling you racist names, it's not illegal, but it's going to be unpopular. So many things Jenn did may not have been illegal, but it's very unpopular when you have a guy that's in the Fet life and there's a big bottle of lube that he carries around with this stuff, and you're checking their phone and they're texting each other. In the paperwork, Madeline Soto and Stephan Sterns texted each other and called each other all day long. He doted on her, and I know she saw that. We're also going to find out about the rifts that her and Maddie had. They did have rifts, and I wonder why. They're fighting over a man here, folks.
Around what time?
Around 8:30, 8:40 when we dropped her off.
How tall is she?
5'1",
I have 2 kids.
Weight,
110 pounds.
110, 100.
hair color,
Blonde, like a dirty blonde.
like a dirty blonde.
Yeah.
Okay. Eye color.
Blue.
Does she have any markings on her, like any scars or
She
anything
has
like that?
a distinctive beauty mark on her face.
On
here.
her face.
On the face, like below the nose.
And this bothers him. He says it's big. It bothers him. I'm trying to look for the scratches. He does have scratches, folks. We haven't seen those pictures. A lot of things are redacted in the documents. And a lot of people are asking me for the documents, but I really can't just send documents out to anybody. I have to, especially since they're not redacted, unless it's somebody that's also in the media that I qualify. I love you guys. I love the crime crew, but that information doesn't need to be out there. And it's so not redacted that I just can't. I can't send it to you. I'm sorry. Unless you're a part of the press or you're working with me on the team and you're helping me redact, which I've already got covered, I can't send those out. So nothing personal. It's just, it's not safe.
Yeah, like right in that area there. It's very distinctive. You know it if you saw it. Big.
Any other scars or anything like that?
Scars.
You'd be surprised. Did you put out the other?
I'll put the top part out. I didn't get the rest of the stuff yet. Put it down.
Updated 14.
Thank you.
Can I just see that phone?
Black shorts, white approximately 5'1" height.
Beating the
Blonde,
bushes,
dirty
yeah.
blonde hair, blue eyes, has a beauty mark under the nose.
They're both closed off right now, folks. We already know Stephan Sterns is guilty.
If you're a member of the channel, you've probably seen my 911 call checklist. And lots of people are surprised when they see that being polite and patient is.
Yes, this is amazing. Thank you for addressing this, deception detective. Yes, 911 checklist. Listen to this close. And if you guys want to listen to the 911 calls again after that, I can certainly do that. If you want to listen to 911 calls again, put 1 in the chat because I have a whole show prepared for you today, folks. I've got much more coming. We're going to talk about the friends, what they said, how Maddie was uncomfortable. We're going to do real information that's coming from the document. I'm just not doing a document dump. I'm just clearing up the hotel situation and the timeline and things like that while I do this. So, Dee Dee, you actually made my year already. So my year's made. I've had a shitty year personally. Love the family, but the house situation's been really difficult to deal with. But the love in this true crime community from the real true crime people, the real actual creators is just, it warms my heart. Okay. I've only been doing this 7 months now. I hit 13,500 subscribers. I've got Watts the Obsession saying guilty of crime, Deception Detective guilty of crime, Oblivious Spencer guilty of crime, Grizzly True Crime guilty of crime, Duty Ron guilty of crime, all the love. And you know why? Because I'm sticking to the facts, logic, reason, and I have a passion to get these cases solved and find missing people, even if they're not going to be alive, which I'm very, very, very sure of. After 2 weeks, solidly, we're probably looking for a body, folks. So hit a 1 if you want to hear the 911 calls, and I'll queue them up for you after this. We're almost done with this video, but we're not even close to being done with today. So buckle up.
under the guilty column. In other words, when someone's experiencing an emergency and they're overly friendly with the police and very accommodating, like we see here with Jenn and Stephan, is a red flag. And what's more, when I hit play, listen closely to how cheerily Jenn answers the phone when the principal of the school calls her. In fact, she goes out of her way to say that she's fine and asks the principal how they are doing. Remember, at this time, Jenn is allegedly the mother of a girl who's been missing since 8 that morning, about 12 hours ago. And what's more, she went missing when she was on the way to the school managed by that very principal. If you were the mother of a missing child, would you be answering the phone this way? Would you be trying to make friends with everybody? Or would you be grilling them like an angry mother bear? Empirically, innocent callers and innocent people experiencing emergencies are very urgent and actually rude. So when I hit play, listen to how Jenn answers this phone call.
I'm getting a random 407 number. Okay. Hello? Yes? Hi, Principal. I'm okay. How are you?
Ridiculous, folks.
No, police officers here right now.
Get started in the
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find her
paperwork. Does she have any social media or anything like that?
She has Instagram.
right here.
Tried it. It is very good.
Just family.
Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it.
Right here.
That's her profile?
Yeah.
Little thing.
She also has a YouTube page.
Okay. Any Snapchat or?
She plays games.
No, that's not.
She plays like Minecraft.
Yeah, so 777, folks. Angel number. Maddie, we love you. We're here for you. Jay, it's awesome.
That's the end of the second part of the body cam footage. And I think the rest of it is mainly just K9 units searching for Madeline's body. So to wrap up this video, I have one more interesting thing to show you. Let's listen to the 911 call reporting Madeline missing, because I want to see if you spot a giant red flag. So listen closely.
What is the location of the emergency?
Okay, so we've got like 2 minutes on here where he's going to play a part of it, but I have it queued up for the 7-minute where you could hear everything, and then I'll call out to you how I would act and how they're acting, and how Yolanda is very similar to me.
Okay, what's going on? Can you please fire medical?
No, it's not a medical issue. We have a missing child since this morning. We already called
This
3
is
times.
Yolanda.
And the police didn't show up yet.
Are you looking for it?
Yes.
You know? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2. You know, I see it right here for you. Yes, ma'am. I see it. Just waiting for deputy to respond.
They haven't come here yet.
I'm worried, ma'am. I see it. It's waiting for deputy to respond.
We're waiting for a deputy to respond.
Yes, ma'am.
And how long more do we need to wait? It's a child missing.
I understand that, ma'am, but I'm just not able to give out ETA. I don't know when they'll get that.
So how long do we need to wait? This is an emergency.
Ma'am, we have the information, but
Yeah, she's getting very upset, and this is what I would do as well. When I talk to my insurance company about my roof falling in, and this is not my daughter missing, folks, I get very irritated with the representatives, and I'm very pushy about our health at the house and them fixing it or putting us in a hotel. So if you compare that to my daughter being missing, I would not be sitting anywhere. I would be in my car at every place I could think of, and you wouldn't see me at home. Pray to God. Let's say a prayer. That never comes to that situation. I do have 2 kids. My son's about to be 24. My daughter's about to be 10. But I'm telling you, if I get more excited and mad and heated up about my roof and them getting it fixed than Jenn does about her daughter going missing for already overnight now. Well, now it's not overnight yet. It's 12 hours. And then when she starts doing the interviews, it's already been 2 days, a day, 2 days, 3 days, nothing. That tells you right there. I can't even emphasize that.
But they're trying to get there someone as soon as possible.
So this is not important for you guys? Really?
Then we're very busy in the area. Look, I understand they'll be there as soon as they can, okay?
The red flag, of course, is that's not Jenn Soto's voice. Jenn did not report Madeline missing once. There were 3 calls made by people other than Jenn about Madeline. Another good thing about this 911 call is you can notice the contrast between this caller, who I believe has no idea what happened, and Jenn. It goes back to my 911 checklist. Whereas Jenn is polite and patient with the police, this caller, while not being totally rude, or maybe as rude as I would have been if my kid were missing, is urgent, and they are demanding. And that is actually how innocent callers act. If you want to listen to the rest of the 911.
Urgent and demanding, and that is me, folks. As nice as I can be, is as mad as I can be, and urgent when someone messes with my family. So I've been very urgent and demanding with my insurance company about the health of my family. So if you take that and multiply it by my kid missing, Bobby J, I couldn't have said it better. I would have been hysterical. All right, we're going to listen to the calls after this. I could kind of talk in between it and call things out with you. And then we're going to continue with the show. Thank you, everybody, for being here. 794 people in chat. If you do me a huge favor, just hit that like button. It gets us into the algorithm so that we can have other big creators that get information from us, push us out there. We can get real interviews. I'm still trying to get a interview with Dr. Thomas Andrew, the doctor from the Christopher Gregor, Corey Michelot, Brianna Michelot. I'd like Brianna to be able, I'm sorry, she doesn't like Brianna. I'd like Brie Michelot to be able to thank Dr. Thomas Andrew. I might be saying it wrong, Andrew Thomas, but I'm trying to get him, even if I can get a letter from him or some acknowledgement from that fantastic medical examiner. I can do that when I have outreach and I have people and I'm getting in the algorithm and I have support from these creators. So the only way I could do that, folks, and Dr. Andrew. Thank you. I know his name's Thomas, though. It's Andrew Thomas. He has 2 first names. Okay, so the only way I could do that is by you not spending a penny, just hitting the like button. Thank you, folks. All right.
One calls, check out Duty Ron's channel. Link is in the description below. I recommend watching the video on your screen next. It's about an eerily similar missing child case that happened on the same day Madeline went missing. Until next time.
All right. Until next time. And it's going to be soon next time. The next time that we're going to listen with Dee Dee and do a collaboration, unless something ginormous hits, is going to be with Deception Detective. We're going to do a Watts Wednesday, and I have to shout out the lovely Watts, the Obsession. Kelly is fantastic, and her goal, and the goal between her and I, was to get Deception Detective. We're listening to 911 calls right now. I'm just talking while I'm filling this in. All right. Our goal was to get Deception Detective to play that video and analyze it, and then I was going to go and do a collab. Guess what? That happened. So Watts Wednesday is going to be a big day, and I hope Kelly is able to be in the chat with us. Kelly is Watts the Obsession. Deception Detective is always invited. It's his analysis of her enhanced audio and video. All right, let's listen to 911.
911, what is the location of your emergency? Okay, what's going on?
No.
Do you need police, fire, medical?
No, it's not a medical issue. We have a missing child.
Okay, so this is Yolanda Zambrano. This is the grandma. And not once are we going to hear Jenn Soto directly on the phone, but we are going to hear her nonchalantly in the background, folks. Okay, so we're going to listen to this Thomas Andrew. Yes, greatest doctor. I knew his name had 2 first names, and we're trying to get him to we want to give him a special thanks for the medical examining job that he did on the stand. And Bree would like to do that, and I'd like to get his, I'd like to get an interview with him.
Child since this morning. We already called 3 times, and the police didn't show up yet.
Are you listening? Or
yes.
Do you know? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, I see it right here for you. Yes, ma'am, I see it. Just waiting for a deputy to respond.
They haven't come here yet.
I'm worried, ma'am. I see it. It's waiting for a deputy to respond.
You're waiting for a deputy to respond?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long? What do we need to wait? It's a child missing.
I understand that, ma'am, but I'm just not able to give out ETA. I don't know when they'll be there.
So how long do we need to wait? This is an emergency.
I don't think so.
Ma'am, we have the information, but they're trying to get to someone as soon as possible.
So this is not important for you guys? Really?
Ma'am, we're very busy in the area. Look, I understand they'll be there as soon as they can, okay?
She says, and she hangs up. And I don't blame her for doing that, folks. I'm like that with the insurance company, and that's not even close to what's happening here. So now we're going to hear Stephanie Soto, which is Madeline Soto's aunt, come on the 911 call, and we'll hear Jenn in the background giving a description. She doesn't want to really give a description because it's not solid. She says black shorts. Stephan says blue shorts. And I want to address that missing croc, folks. That missing croc wasn't actually in the room. They had multiple pairs of Crocs, and the multiple pairs of Crocs that they had the one that was missing was in the trash with the tire tread. So she actually didn't know that. She didn't. I'm not saying that she didn't. I'm just telling you that's not part of it. The other crock was in the trash, so that has nothing to do with her knowing or not.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
Okay, police and medical. Hi, I called not that long ago reporting a missing child. I just wanted to know how long the cops are going to take to get here. Okay, hold on. Let me open up the call and let's see. The call is still currently pending to have the deputies respond out there. We don't have any available deputies. We still have the call up the holding. Okay, so no one's on their way yet? Not yet, no. Does it take long for them to respond to the call? If there's a big emergency in the area, and there's no units available, they put the calls on hold. But as soon as one becomes available, they respond to the next pressing call. Okay, yeah, we just need one here urgently. So I understand. We still have the call. We still have the call holding. Yes. Yep, we still have the call holding for them. I'll go ahead and update them with the information. All right, thank you, because this happened very recently, so we just want to get everyone here. She's been missing since 8 a.m., so we want to get everything done.
Okay, so right here they're saying she's missing since 8 a.m. We now know that it was before that. We don't know when he left the house or what other footage the police have of him leaving originally the first time. I know the 7:35, there's a 7:35 time frame where they see him, but we have no idea all the other things yet. We just know that she was in the trunk and he was moving around doing stuff. And then we have all these different time frames, and now it's solidified. So Jenn did say that Jenn claims that she came out to get the dog when Stephan Sterns came back in, and that was at 8 a.m. That's how she said, that's when she said she saw her, and that's how she knows what clothes she was wearing. She claims she didn't see Maddie another time, but she heard people in the kitchen and assumed it was Maddie. Jenn also stated the last time she physically seen Maddie was at night before or at 11 p.m. So her story is like all over the place, but in the documentation, it actually says 8 a.m. she didn't actually see Maddie. She's changing her story in the documents. She thought she heard her in the kitchen coming back when Stephan came to get something, but she heard voices. And then 11 p.m. was really the last time. We don't know that. She's lied about everything else. So I'm going to take that with a grain of salt about what she's saying. All right. That's the second 911 call. That's the aunt. And you can see they're getting more desperate as they go. We'll hear Jenn in a minute.
As soon as possible to try to find her. I understand. Okay. Thank you.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
It's.
And is there a specific apartment number, ma'am?
It's.
And do you need police, fire, or medical?
Police, possibly. I'm reporting a missing child.
Okay. And what is the name of the business there, ma'am?
The business?
Okay. And the child that you're trying to report missing, are you calling on behalf of the parent?
Yes, on behalf of the mother.
Okay. Okay. And then and ma'am, how old is the child? And could I go ahead and get her name?
Yes, it's
Madeline Soto.
And is she white, black, or Hispanic?
She's white.
Okay.
And dirty blonde hair, blue eyes.
Okay, hold on.
Now, I want to address this, folks. They said she was white because when you say somebody's white with blonde hair and blue eyes, it's more likely that the police are going to move faster. That's just how it is, folks. I've seen it. We've had to call police in one area before, and they come that quick because that's just how it works. Most people in an area of upper class donate more to their police department. They're more active. And so it just so happens that somebody that's in a white area or that's white, they respond to faster. Not always, but that's why they did that. Now, the 911 operator, I have to tell you, they're trained to be calm. Not only are they trained to be calm, but there was another missing girl out there, and this 911 operator didn't have the mom on the phone with a sense of urgency, even though the grandma and them, it wasn't her fault. I'm not going to blame the 911 operator. I'm going to blame Jenn Soto. She should have been on the phone saying, Madeline Soto is missing. She's been missing. I emailed the teacher. She should have been on the phone.
With me here. And then what color shirt and pants was she last seen wearing?
Hold on, let me ask. Then, what color shirt and what was she last wearing?
Yeah, there was a missing. Yep.
Hold on, we're finding out.
Okay, and then how long has it been though since you guys have last seen her?
since this morning. She was dropped off at school this morning, and apparently she never showed up. We called everyone we knew. No one's seen her.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so, ma'am, I just want to confirm, though, was she last seen from this address? Is this where you guys last saw her?
No. She was last seen at the church next to Huntington Creek Middle School. I think it's called Peace Church. I'm not sure of the exact address.
All right, folks, we still have a big show, so don't leave here, okay? We have 783 people in chat. I'd like to hit 800 people in chat. We still got a lot more evidence coming out, and I've barely even touched the documentation. Not only that, I'm going to answer questions towards the end. If you put QQQ at the end and give me your question, I'll answer anything I can that's in the documents. Then I'll do a document dump later this week.
She was wearing a dark green hoodie, I believe.
What is the name of the church?
I think it's. I'm pretty sure it's called Peace Church. It's the one right next to Huntington Creek Middle School. It's the. Well, no.
Got it. It's across the street from it.
I believe so. Yeah. There's two. I just forgot about the other one.
See, Jenn Soto should have been on the phone with the police officer answering all of those questions. It would have been a lot quicker, a lot easier, a lot faster, and they would have got the information, but she already knew there was a finality to it. And I'm not saying that, I'm not putting a conspiracy theory that Jenn was involved and she walked in. Those were theories before. I think that she followed this script. She obstructed justice. They could have found Maddie's body sooner. She knew which area Stephan was headed. She knew more about it than she said. And as well, she handed Maddie to Stephan. Those things that she should have been arrested for. Hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. You hear all of this confusion on this call. It could have been done with if she'd have just got on the phone. You could hear her in the background filling in the blanks. Aunt Stephanie Soto didn't know. She wasn't there.
It's not Focal Point Church. It's
Well, is it Peace United Methodist Church?
Yes.
Okay.
That one.
Okay. Is she diagnosed with any medical or mental conditions at all?
I know she takes medication for ADHD, and I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay. Sorry, bear with me here. And is she known to carry anything on her person, like a pocket knife, pepper spray, anything at all like that?
No,
okay.
No, nothing like that.
Does she have a cell phone that she might keep on her person?
She doesn't. She had one when she left at home conveniently today.
Okay.
Right there. Okay.
No, I'm definitely not jumping to racism, but people keep asking why they said her nationality was white when she's not white. She's clearly not white. She's part Puerto Rican, and then her dad is white, whatever sort. So I'm not jumping to, I don't know who's jumping to racism. I'm saying it's known. It's a publicly known thing that if you say blonde hair, blue eyes, you're going to get a faster response than if you just are like, oh yeah, some Hispanic people that brown hair, brown eyes that all look the same. It's just what we know. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, no racist stuff, folks. And also, L. Price, seems like you have something to say. It seems two different police districts, if you remember. So if you think that call was placed to one agency that was busier than the other, it should have been passed. And I agree with that. I just don't want to start holding the 911 caller accountable. If we're going to hold anyone accountable, let's hold Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns accountable for this.
And ma'am, what is your name?
Of course, it's important.
Okay, perfect.
They're all important, folks. I'm just bringing up facts. I was carjacked in Oakland, and I was in a predominantly black neighborhood, and the cops took a really long time, even though we are left in the middle of the street with no car. And everybody in the neighborhood wanted nothing to do to help. And we're just sitting in the middle of the street. The cops wouldn't even give me a ride back to the police station so we can get a ride. And at that time, they didn't have Uber and all that. I've also been in a neighborhood where it's all white neighborhood, Almaden Valley, and a trailer got stolen and the cops were there within 4 minutes. I've been in separate situations where it depends on. So yes, it's absolutely just as important for an Asian child, a Black child, a Hispanic child, any child. I'm telling you what studies show. I don't want to get into racism here, but her sister did not tell the truth when she said she's white, because she's not white. And there was a reason behind that. If I can get Stephanie Soto to talk and tell you why, she would probably tell you that that's known fact in especially Florida and in that particular area. So I don't want to start bringing race into this. I'm just letting you know what statistics and facts and knowledge about that type of thing.
Perfect. Thank you. And just so we recognize you when we arrive there, though, at the advanced.
Thank you.
Come meet with you guys. Are you, ma'am, white, Black, Indian, Asian, or Hispanic?
I'm Hispanic.
And what color shirt and pants will you be wearing?
Absolutely.
Dark wash jeans. I have a green cardigan on and a white shirt.
Thank you. And I just need to verbally confirm is all. Do you have any at all weapons on your person?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. And are you going to be waiting for us inside?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll come outside. I do a see-through glass. I'll see when you guys show up.
Okay, perfect then. So then I'll get a call placed for service. We'll have deputies out there to come and make a report with you and to come and assist with trying to find your. Okay.
Okay. Her mother and they're going to the school to double check and everything, but from what we know, she wasn't there, so they should be back soon too, because it's right next to the school.
Yeah, that's fine. So if at least one of you remains there, though,
she does
to meet
look
with an
white.
officer, that's more than fine. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay then. All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I'll go ahead and let you go. We'll be out there as quickly as we can. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Absolutely, she wanted them to come quicker, and I wish I could talk to her about it. It's funny how some people get onto different tangents about different things. Okay, so I love each and every single one of you. We're going to keep going. We have 814 people in chat. I love everybody's opinion. I love when you even call me out when I'm wrong. I still love you. Call me out. Play devil's advocate. I have Davey as a moderator in here, and a lot of times he's the devil's advocate in the chat, and he starts saying the opposite of what I'm saying. And I love having a healthy discussion with people that are healthy, because people that aren't healthy, well, then they start having these off the wall discussions and their ego comes into place, and then they know everything and they can't even find a common ground to say, hey, I'll agree to disagree with you. We're all good. Now, let's look into Maddie's life. We're going to talk about now more parts of the document, childhood, things like that with Court TV. And the one man that I think is going to be in one of these is going to be Mr. Gray Hughes himself. Court TV loves Gray Hughes.
We have a very strong bond. I'm the person she goes to when her mom gets in a fight with her and she needs someone to comfort her. Like I'm that person for her. This girl knows nothing but love here in this house.
Absolutely.
This morning, we are spotlighting the new developments in the murder of Madeline Soto. Court TV has reviewed hundreds of documents that were just released by the Osceola and Orange County Sheriff's offices in Florida, which gives us more information on the evidence that was collected near the teenager's body and more detailed timeline of events. So let's first take a look at some of the critical times that are tied to this investigation. Right. On the last day that she was seen alive at 8:30 p.m., Madeline is dropped off at home. At 8:45 p.m.
All right, so this is really good information too, folks. I promised you to bring a timeline. This is more of a timeline. Earlier was the shorter timeline of what we've all been waiting for, that missing, and we still don't know exactly what happened unless Jennifer Soto speaks up and tells the full truth about what she knows. We're never really going to know what happened between those hours. And if she tells the truth, are we even going to believe her? So pay attention. These are very crucial times, all in the documentation, and I couldn't have said this better. These pages that have arrived are a lot of the same ones that we've already had. So there's going to be a lot of things that are the same, but then the new stuff is what we want to highlight.
That day, Stephan arrives at the home, and then at 10:30 p.m., Madeline's mother, Jenn, arrives at that home, and she sends Stephan and Madeline to bed together. We'll talk about that in a moment. 11:49 p.m., Stephan logs on to an app called Telegram. Then the next morning at 7 to 7:15 a.m., Sterns claims that he woke up Madeline and that they left the house together. And on surveillance video, he is seen driving away with Madeline slumped over in the car. Now, it's at 8 to 8:15 a.m. that mother Jenn claims she is woken up by Sterns getting the dog leash, and she also reports hearing someone in the kitchen. 8:19, he returns to the complex with Madeline slumped over and leaves the complex. About 15 minutes later, she's still slumped over, and it's 9 a.m. that Jenn actually gets out of bed. Let's break down all of these new developments with our guests. We have two Court TV journalists who have covered this case from the start. We have Court TV.
All right, and I hope you heard all of that, because this is the full story that's coming out in these documents. So if you want the documents, you don't need them. You could just listen to my reporting, go to Grizzly True Crime, listen to her. I'm going to do a doc dump, go through everything. I'm a little bit weary on this episode because some of the language is crazy. But I also do want to talk to you about Gerald Belmore. They had an interview with Gerald Belmore and show you the witness list. Him and Barbara were one of Maddie's neighbors. And Gerald Belmore, if you look further into him, he's currently incarcerated on CP. Do you know what that is? CSAM charges. And he is in jail, and it appears that he's the family of Barbara Belmore. So he was one of the people on the witness list, and he was one of the neighbors of Maddie. And I wonder if Stephan Sterns talked to him. He's on the witness list himself, and then he's on the witness list with his mom. So I want to show you that after as well, because people are talking about Santa, but there's a lot of people in this world. If you Google my neighborhood, there's a new pedo chomo in my neighborhood, and we know who it is, folks. So I want you to know that, yeah, crazy coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. Maybe they all knew each other. I don't know. All right, let's listen to this again. A lot of this stuff. If you're a true crime crew day one person, you guys know a lot of this stuff because we talked about it before the documents came out.
Producer Cody Thomas, who is here in studio with us, and Court TV digital content producer Lauren Silver, who is joining us remotely. Lauren, I want to start with you. You have had a chance to comb through all of these messages. You have been so detailed in keeping us up to date on everything that's happening and putting this out for our viewers to see on our website, courttv.com. Tell me about what's standing out to you as one of the biggest pieces of evidence that will support the prosecution of Stephan Sterns in this case.
So right off the top, we knew that surveillance videos were going to play a huge role in this case. We'd known that they had mentioned having evidence of her being dead in the car after he said he was dropping her off at school. What we didn't know is that there's a second surveillance video that allegedly shows her dead and being placed into the trunk of his car. So investigators said that they have a surveillance video from the Holiday Inn Club vacations, and that they saw his car pull into the garage. And then video inside the garage shows a man walk to the front passenger side of the vehicle, open the door, and proceed to carry what appeared to be a limp body to the trunk of the vehicle. So we can really only assume.
All right. So now you know. And on the last one, I think I didn't make it super clear. People, and I was even a bit confused. I'm not going to lie. I was a bit confused thinking that he may have taken Maddie to that hotel because it wasn't very clear. I didn't have all the documents yet. I hadn't even downloaded them. And I was waiting for a response to get them. So it sounded to me like Maddie was taken to a hotel that night of her birthday and then her life taken, put in the trunk. That's not the case. What happened was he was driving around and he needed to move her body because it was limp out of the front seat. Her mouth was open. And by the way, I believe she was passed away, and I'll tell you why afterwards. Anyway, I believe that theory of her being her life taken in that parking lot is not true. That's a theory that's put out there, and you might hear it if I play one of these clips that says it. So this is the part where he moves her body to the trunk. Stephan Sterns moves Maddie's body to the trunk because she's just way beyond able to control. Her body's moving, and it's just too much. So he goes to the third floor of this hotel, not the one that they stayed in, to move her body. That's where I was getting confused. I believe the crime scene is at Jennifer Soto's house in room 4. All right.
That is Madeline. Really disturbing and likely will have a big part of this case. Also, we're hearing more about people who police talked to. So one of the people that talked to police was Stephan Sterns' ex-girlfriend, who described him justifying sleeping with this child even when he and Jennifer had been separated. So he was no longer in a relationship with Madeline's mother, but said he was returning to sleep in Madeline's bed, saying he needed to cuddle with her so she could fall asleep. So that is just odd. The change in Jenn Soto's story, I think, also jumped out to me off the page. You mentioned it in the timeline. Originally, we'd heard that she claimed to have seen Madeline at 8 a.m. getting dressed that morning.
All right, and now the paperwork came out that she hasn't seen. She did not see Maddie. Last time she saw her was 11 p.m. Keep this in mind, folks. Stephan Sterns hadn't been at Jen's house for a month, a little bit over. That was the first time that he came back, and he came back to lay in wait for Maddie to come home from that birthday party. Maddie comes home from that birthday party, and between, let's say, 9 and 11 p.m., they're doing whatever they're doing. Maybe he's just, starting to warm Maddie up and talk to her about her birthday. Then Jenn comes home at 11 and says, I'm tired. I'm anxious. Go to bed. You guys go to bed. Get out of here. Go to sleep in the other room. And that's what happens. And in between 11 o'clock and I'm going to say about between 4:30 and even the latest could be 6 in the morning, Stephan took Maddie's life. I don't believe it was later. Rigor mortis sets in and it varies in different situations. But one of my grandmas, not too long ago, passed away, and she lives 45 minutes from us. And the family called us. My wife's family is huge. The way they do it is when someone passes away, natural causes, they want to say prayers and honor the body before the funeral. So we drove from where we were to there, 45 minutes. We were there for about an hour and a half, touching grandma and giving her kisses and hugs. It was about 3 hours until the coroner came. We moved the kids out. I saw the coroner moving her body. We all saw the coroner move her body. I felt her body, and her body was cold, but not super cold. You can feel the warm kind of leaving. After 3 hours, she was cold, but by no means was she stiff. And she was 93 years old, folks. Okay. She was 93 years old. So that that story is bogus. She was 93 and she passed away of natural causes. And we all said prayers after she was already been dead. I don't even like that word. She already been passed away for at least 2 hours by the time I got there, and she still almost had a warmth to her. She was getting stiff a little bit, but not like crazy. And when they moved her, there was nothing abnormal. It wasn't like nothing was moving. She was still very limp. So there was no reason that, we've mourned. It's been probably 4 years now, and fantastic. Best bonus grandma that I could have ever had. I loved that lady. She was 93 years old, so she was always apprehensive at first. She would tell me, I don't I like girls, but not like that. And it started with giving me kisses on the cheek. And then I got closer to the lips eventually after, 16 years of being my grandma. So very sweet lady, but I've seen people pass, and there's one particular situation. So I know that 3-hour mark is nothing.
And we know based on what police have said that she was seen dead in the car at 7:35. That couldn't have happened. Now she has clarified to police that what in fact was she heard voices at 8 a.m. And because there are 2 roommates who live in the house, there's no way to know who those voices were.
Wow. It's
right. 2 roommates, and the body was limp when it was moved in the trunk. And that's why I think that it was closer to the morning. And he also, Stephan Sterns, the way he did everything was in a panic. So I think it was closer to the morning. He didn't really get a chance to think it through. He was driving around doing this, creating an alibi. The body was limp. It wasn't stiff, but because it was limp, what I'm saying is I don't think that he stopped at the Holiday Inn and decided, let me just take her life right here and then put her in the trunk. No, she was already passed away. I don't believe that any of that stuff. Is it a theory, and can it be possible? By saying it absolutely can't be possible. Will we ever find out? Probably not. I believe the police already saw her they in the video and knew she was passed away. The way her mouth was open and the way her body was, they've seen it thousands of times, each officer.
So many terrible details that we already had in this case, Lauren, and now we're hearing more about the relationship inside the home. Can I ask you a follow-up of this dynamic? I know you know so much about this case because you've been following it. The amount of time, do you know about the relationship between Jenn and Stephan, the amount of time that they had been together, what the status of their relationship was, and anything more you can tell us about this app, Telegram, that we mentioned in the timeline?
I don't know too much about Telegram, but I can tell you that Jenn and Stephan had been sort of in an on-again, off-again relationship for at least 7 years. The videos detailed. Police have said they have over 1,700 files that they found on his phone. A lot of them are pretty detailed, and one specifically mentions her being 8 years and 4 months old. So we can assume that this abuse went back years. We also know that he had moved out of the house. The three of them had lived in that house with the roommates. He moved out in December 2023. He told police he did that because his father had gotten him a job. That job later fell through, and he said he was trying to move back in, but it does appear he was still coming to the house and staying over even during that separation, as he told his girlfriend at the time.
Lauren, thank you for those details. I do want to bring in Cody Thomas. Cody.
There's a witness list, folks, and we know the roommates were, I believe they were females, and we can see some of them in the video. If you go back to the video, I think the roommates were possibly, one of them was possibly Annalise, which was her best friend, Jennifer Soto's best friend. I'm not sure, but there's witness lists, and I'm sure they're on the witness list. So, but I can't give you a whole answer. I can say they're probably females, and I think 2 females. I don't know why nobody was. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody that was around her failed Maddie. That's all I can say. But I can't give you exact answers yet.
You've been there in that area. You've seen not only the apartment where we're talking about what Lauren is sharing with us, but you've also been to the location where the body of Madeline Soto was found. In these new documents, what's standing out to you comparing the scene that you were there looking at and what we are finding out now?
Well, first, we can start off in saying where she was found was 40 minutes away from that apartment complex. It was super flat, super rural. I know the documents say when her body was found, it was covered in some hay and some grass, but from when I was out there, it was still very wide open, even though she was kind of in that bamboo tree thicket off the side of the road, a few feet off the road. It's very bold of him, to me, that he would place her body there in broad daylight. As far as the apartment complex, to what Lauren was saying with the surveillance, this place was stacked with cameras. Front gate, back gate. There was cameras even on the dumpster. You could see who was pulling up in the dumpster and what car they were driving, what they were throwing into the dumpster. There was even a guard at the front gate. So I have no doubt in my mind that one of those cameras, if not all of them, caught him at some point on that morning with Madeline's dead body in the car.
Yeah, this apartment complex, I'm assuming there's a lot of different people around. There's a lot of different units there.
All right, folks, it's not that hard to. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Honey Bun. Thank you, everybody that is gifting memberships. You are fantastic. Caro, how did he manage to get her in the car? He said it. Jen said it. She weighed about 110 to 112 pounds. That's not that much weight for a grown man. I believe Stephan Sterns is 6'2", and at the time, I don't know, 250 pounds. That's not very hard to get her into the car. I'm barely pushing 5 feet tall, and my daughter's probably almost as tall as me now. And I'm going to say she weighs about 80, 85 pounds. And I easily pick her up and just throw her over my shoulder. I go to school and she runs to mommy and I pick her up like nothing. So for a 6'2", 250 pound man, 110 to 112 pounds, very easy to carry her in the car. Not a problem at all. How do you get a membership? I don't know, Bree, if you're around, but Bree or Davey, can you drop a link? Jojo for Show is not here today. I said I was going to be off, so I don't know if she even knows. Carly's not around, and she didn't know. JC, been here since the beginning, no membership. Well, get a membership right here. There's a link in chat. Get a membership. It's worth it. You'll love it. I promise. If it's not, then I'll pay for it. All right. Is this live? Right. I'm just watching it live, but I guess this is not a replay, MFAR. Can you hear me say MFAR? I think your name is Michelle. You're not on a replay. We're actually doing video right now, and I have a lot more to say, so let's keep going. But Stephan Sterns was lazy. He probably needed help. There's a lot of cameras. We're gonna see if Jen helped him. But like I said, I'm barely pushing 5 feet tall, and I could pick my daughter up. That's 85 pounds, no problem at all. I don't know if your name is Dian or Diane. Good way to spell it. Yeah, click the join button, please. You guys, I promise you won't be mad about it. Was Jen arrested? We'd like her to be. Let's and if you want to know if Jen was arrested, I'll tell you what she needs to be arrested for. She needs to be arrested for obstruction of justice, which means lying to the police like she has over and over, which we just showed, and child neglect. Thank you, Holly J, for becoming a member. Let's keep going. Jen is not arrested, but we want her to be, and there's 2 things I just named that she can be arrested for right now.
What can you tell us about where that apartment for them was compared to other people, how close it is to the road, that sort of thing?
It was a very busy area. I mean, as I was out there was cars coming in all hours of the day. We were out there in the morning, midday, even at night, they were coming in. There's not an apartment complex that people can just walk in, though. You know, some have those gates where you can walk in off the street. But I'll tell you.
And this is why I don't think she helped him move the body, because they would probably already arrest her. The charges that she's going to get are lesser charges than him. Thank you, Honey Bun. Watts the Obsession sends our love. And I love Watts the Obsession. Kelly is fantastic. And yeah, they would have her. Yeah, there you go. It could even be this too. It could be obstruction, child trafficking, and neglect. I'm sure he was sending those pictures out, all of those pictures out, and trading. We already talked about him trading. I heard that Jennifer Soto was a victim. That's why her name was redacted from the documents. I wonder if that means anything. She's absolutely not a victim. We've heard her lies. If anybody's watching my show, you see the lies. And we talked about it the whole morning about everything she's been lying about, handing her daughter over. So that's child neglect in itself. Her name was redacted because they didn't know her involvement until she told them. And it's not redacted in my document, Roadley. I have the document where her name is not redacted and where the police find her suspicious and using Maddie's name in the past tense. So by no means does Jay not demean us here like the other. No, I love you, Teresa. And I hope I'm saying Teresa or Teresa correctly. The only reason I'm here, and because 859 people are here. So how could I not be grateful for each and every one of you, even if you don't agree with me? I still want to hear your opinion and I want to have a conversation with you. All right, let's go. Yeah, I don't think she was involved in that, like helped carry her or anything, because they would have it on camera and that would be in the documents.
The back gate and the dumpster, very close together. So that kind of corroborates with how they saw his Lincoln MKZ leaving that back gate multiple times. They saw him throwing her, what we now know to be her backpack, in the dumpster, and that matching tire tread. Remember the story about him changing a tire up near where her body was found? They had a matching tire tread to the Lincoln MKZ found in the dumpster, along with her backpack with her laptop. So it was a very busy area, and even the intersections around the city where they were in, every intersection had a camera on it. And I said it back then, and I'll say it now. I believe law enforcement had an incredibly easy time once they figured out what car they were looking for to track every point, every turn, every road he traveled on, as soon as they figured out who they were honing in on.
Yeah, we were seeing that in the documents with the traffic cameras being so helpful in this case. One thing that hasn't been released to the public from the police is the cause of death of Madeline Soto. But Court TV did speak to an investigative reporter there on the ground there in Orlando, and they had
They did, and they're going to say that it was strangulation, which could have been asphyxiation due to having rough, you know what. So we're still not 100% sure. Everybody has their wrong moments. Allowing Stephan Sterns to be with their daughter when they were broken up was a way. That see that monster, absolutely. And all of those years from 8 to 13, all of those years is that's a crime, child neglect in itself, folks. So anybody that's saying anyone that's saying otherwise, that's absolutely incorrect. Child neglect and obstruction of justice are the minimum for Jennifer Soto. Simon K., you're absolutely right. That's what I've been saying. And I'm saying that for the naysayers that want to say Jenn Soto is a victim or she didn't have anything to do with it. She did child neglect clearly, and she obstructed justice by telling all of those lies that we saw her tell many times. They could have found Maddie before all this and not spent time doing everything they were doing, having to piece it together. I bet she gets arrested. They're getting everything ready, though. Yes, I agree with that. It's like the stuff, what they did with Stephan Sterns. It took a while, and it comes in waves, folks. A one wave comes crashing, and then another wave comes crashing. And I want to address, Jennifer Soto her and her family do watch my channel. I know that for a fact because I get reportings from the family when they're upset at things that I say. So, yeah, absolutely. All right.
This to say about what they've learned from their sources.
We believe that they have determined that Madeline Soto was strangled and that it was the cause of death. We also believe that they have quite a bit of video evidence after the fact on that route from the house to where Madeline's body was found.
Lauren Silver, you reported on the fact that we aren't hearing that yet, but also about what Cody is mentioning about the dumpster and the surveillance video and what was located. In terms of what police are releasing about how her body was found, what do we know?
We know she was found wearing that green hooded sweatshirt that was mentioned by everyone when she was missing. She was wearing blue jeans, not the black shorts that Stephan and Jennifer had said she was wearing, though, and white Crocs. At least one white Croc. We know another white Croc was found in the dumpster in the white trash bag.
Okay, did you hear that, folks? One Croc was with her, one Croc was in the dumpster with the tire tread. So it was not in the room with where Jennifer Soto was or where her things were. He took all the time to try to clean up the best he could. Jen to be in the same place. She shouldn't have any privileges. I agree. I wish they would arrest her, but they probably want to arrest her on the most that they can.
Investigators say Stephan throughout. She was covered by some grass and hay in a fetal position, and they haven't said anything about what kind of injury she may have suffered. They noted some discoloration around her torso, her neck, her arms, but nothing beyond that. And they did note decomposition and some flies, but no real clues.
So difficult. This was a 13-year-old who had just celebrated her birthday that night. Cody, final thoughts. You mentioned that there were a lot of cameras around and it doesn't seem like he was avoiding those cameras. Some people have said this doesn't seem like it was planned out in terms of in advance. Does that match what you saw at the scene and the different places that you visited?
That's exactly right, Julia. Those are my thoughts as I was reading the documents, as I was down there. It seems as if he did all of this kind of in a panic, like, in a rush. And my only pressing question.
I definitely think he did in a panic, but he knew which way to go to. That place was far out of town and he was heading towards where he knew where Jen used to live in St. Cloud before that, the place they lived in now, the current condo. But all of it was a panic, I believe, by the way it was done. And he had to get up and get out before the roommates started getting up and going to work. It was a work day. It was a Monday.
Question is, when did you have time to allegedly strangle Madeline if she was already dead early in that morning? But it seems like the weight of what he had done was coming down upon him, and he just felt like, I have to get rid of this body so I can come up with my escape plan. Then what happens? You get a flat tire. Maybe it was just a giant coincidence, but it doesn't take away from the fact that we now have more insight on what was really happening on Old Hickory Tree Road that morning.
Well, we are going to keep following this case. My thanks to our colleagues at Court TV, Lauren Silver and Cody Thomas. Thank you for sharing all of those details. We have more to come here on opening statements, more reaction to these shocking news.
Yep.
To kill her husband, Jerry.
Oh, typically no.
And I love hearing
he is seen driving away with Madeline slumped over in the car.
No.
Now it's at 8 to 8.
All right, now we're going to go
Hickory Tree Road that morning.
Part of this investigation points back to the life she had while she was living with her mother and the suspect in this case, Stephan Sterns. Sterns spoke with police the day after Madeline went missing, and he had this to say about how her disappearance affected him and the child's mother.
She brings a lot of joy.
That's a sickening statement. And Jenn Soto is with the family, with the Soto family, I believe. We don't want to know exactly where she is because something would happen to her, and we want to let justice be served. So she is hanging with the Soto family and still in town. The cops aren't letting her leave town or go to Puerto Rico or anything.
She's a very good girl. It definitely doesn't feel the same around here if she's not here. She was so happy too. She was looking forward to my visit here. She was looking forward to us all being together. She was just happy. She was just very happy. I loved her like she was my own.
For more reaction to these recent developments in the home life of Madeline Soto, let's bring back in our experts. We have in studio State Attorney in Palm Beach County, Florida, Dave Ehrenberg, and
that's got to make everybody so angry now, right? I mean, we all know that he's guilty. Well, innocent until proven guilty, but they found the pictures on his phone. They saw him moving the body, so forth. So we know who did the majority of it. And now we want to know what Jenn's culpability is going to be. Does the family ever agree? No, they say that wait until court comes, that Jenn is not complicit in anything and any of this, and she didn't know what was going on at all. All past tense. Absolutely, kitty cat. Good call. All right, we have another clip after this, and then I'll take questions.
Domestic violence expert and former law enforcement Claudia King is with us. Claudia, I want to start with you. This case has so many issues when it comes to domestic violence in terms of what we are learning, the details, all of the sex abuse images that police say they found on the phone of Stephan Sterns. What is standing out to you about the home life of this child that should have potentially raised red flags earlier?
I feel terrible for this poor girl and everything that she went through. As far as some signs that possibly could have been seen earlier, and I don't want to say by her mother, because I feel like her mother may have been complicit in a lot of this, but I think at school she may have appeared withdrawn. She may have exhibited some signs of PTSD as far as being jumpy.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about this. This is what I wanted to bring up with the kids that notice certain things or the teachers, but it wasn't real concrete evidence. And Maddie didn't really tell anyone that we know of yet on paper, unfortunately. So I like seeing this picture of Maddie as she gets older, because initially we saw her as a little girl. And even though she is a little girl, she was a little girl. 13 is starting to become a woman. And I just, with Maddie's name, 888, with her face on the screen, we get an 888. Pray for complete justice for Madeline Soto. That's what we're here for, folks. Okay, let's keep going.
You know, if somebody came behind her or touched her, she may have reacted differently than we normally see, or she may have been very agreeable. So anything that anybody asked her to do, she may have agreed to do very quickly, because it sounds like that's what she was used to doing at home with the defendant.
Yeah, Dave Ehrenberg, let's talk about the mother, Jenn. She's there inside of the home. She has this on again, off again relationship with Stephan Sterns. How are prosecutors or investigators likely looking at her in terms of what they now believe Stephan Sterns did over the course of years?
Remember, folks, they still have not ruled out Jennifer Soto at all. All right. So when you don't think that she's involved, just wait for the wave to come. I've already told you, and many other people are saying many other things that she could be charged for. In my opinion, the least is neglect and obstruction of justice. You cannot lie to the police. You can get arrested if you tell the police that your name is Joe instead of John. That's how bad it is. They weren't together, and he randomly showed up to celebrate her birthday. That's bogus. Jenn needed him to watch her until she got home. No, grandma should have kept her for that. I wish he would have. Of course, she knew that he was coming. Absolutely. And they're going to know that in the text messages. Complicit. She sent them to sleep in room number 4. Absolutely. And she said that herself. I'm going to leave it on that while we play, because that's an angel number and it means something. Somebody sent me an angel number list, and 888. I'll tell you what it means in a second.
Under Florida law, child neglect that leads to a death or serious bodily injury is a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years in prison. And you have to believe that prosecutors are looking at charging her potentially by the fact that she allowed Sterns to sleep with her daughter in a separate room in the same bed. And that has to raise red flags. But I think prosecutors are doing more. They want to go further to make sure that they've got the goods before they charge her, because you don't want to get it wrong. And also, perhaps maybe they can get her to flip against Sterns. Although I don't think they need her testimony to convict Sterns. But she's not out of the woods yet. People are.
Okay, and again, she's not out of the woods yet by any means. It's just that people give up real quickly, and they're like, "Oh, she's not arrested yet. That means something. Because she's not arrested, it means something." No, it doesn't mean anything. It means like they want to charge her with the most amount they can. 888 was up there, and I wanted to tell you, 888 is associated with abundance, prosperity. They say financial success in art. What we don't want that. We want abundance and prosperity. It's a sign of the universe aligning to bring material rewards and blessings into your life. And that's what we saw there. We want the material blessing to be Jennifer Soto being charged with the maximum punishment that she can get.
are really going after throughout the country because of her behavior. But there is still a chance, based on that video that I saw where he is standing behind her, this is at that tax insurance office where they're talking about the Maddie, that she was sort of under his control, under his thumb, and she was unaware of what was going on. So prosecutors are still investigating, I believe. And so she could still be charged. But if they had enough evidence to charge her, they would have done so already, I believe.
Claudia, I want to talk about the co-sleeping. This is something that has come out in.
Now, it's interesting because they do have enough evidence just based on her lying and her handing Stephan over, or handing Maddie to Stephan. So I wonder what angle they're taking and how they're using her before they do that. You got to remember the Adelsons. Look at Charlie Adelson and the whole Adelson family, how they used them one by one to arrest each other. And the only Adelson that's left is the one that had the most to gain from her husband being passed away, being murdered. So Real Every Channel, God, I found you. Best wishes. Scotland, what's up, Scotland? Thanks, Chumba, for being here today. All right, let's keep going. They're talking about Jenn Soto now and what she could be charged for and why she's not charged yet.
These new developments, I'm not going to call it co-sleeping, but basically this allegation or this comment by Jenn that Stephan and Madeline would share a bed, 12, 13-year-old girl, and that his justification was he needed to cuddle with her to fall asleep. I'm sure this is just blowing your mind the way it's blowing ours, but is there anything that they can do to try and say that this was somehow normal?
I really can't think of anything, to be honest with you. And I even thought it was very odd when Jenn said that they often all three slept in the same bed. That's very bizarre to me as well. I don't know if they can find some expert or psychologist somewhere that would.
And I told you, actually, the roommate, CM, give it up for CM, the roommate that told us that all three of them slept together all the time. So we knew that before Jennifer Soto came out and told us that. And I guess she kind of had to make it seem normal. And the roommate said she always left her door open because she felt weird about that. While watching the evidence, Jenn denied everything. If the DA had pictures or vids with Jenn and them, she would be wearing orange. I agree with that. I don't think they have pictures, and I'm not even trying to implicate her further than saying child neglect and obstruction of justice, lying to the cops and handing Maddie over. I'm not even conspiracy theorying this at all. So good call on that.
Try to say that this had some benefit to Madeline. I don't foresee that happening, but when money's involved, you never know what people will say.
And the defense is going to try their best to come up with a reasonable one to defend their client. Let's take a listen back to an interview that Stephan Sterns did with police where he's talking about his bond with Madeline.
We have a very strong bond. I'm the person she goes to when her mom gets in a fight with her and she needs someone to comfort her. And I'm that person for her, This girl knows nothing but love here in this house.
Yeah, he's kind of telling on himself right now, folks.
Dave, the statements like that, they're going to be used against him, are they not, inside of a courtroom at a trial for either the abuse or murder?
Yes, and under Florida law, you can get the death penalty for the sexual abuse, aside from the murder, even when the victim does not die. That makes Florida an outlier, and I'm not sure that law is constitutional, but
they have a memorial, Marcia. Not only do they have a memorial, but we streamed the vigil exclusively on our channel. We're the only channel that had the complete full vigil. We saw Tyler and Tatiana Wallace there. We saw Tatiana going on stage and crying. So if you go back to my channel in the playlist, you'll see what they call a vigil and the memorial and many pictures of the memorial. Just go to my playlist and you'll find it. We actually did all that and we did it live. So yeah, I could leave it at creep. And hello, Janet. The more people that see the truth, the better. So thank you all for being here today, and hopefully you can see the truth.
that's the new law in Florida. Plus, you only need an 8-4 vote by the jury in the penalty phase to give someone the death penalty. So he committed allegedly this heinous crime at the wrong time. And so, yeah, they're going to use this stuff against him. The jury, if it does go to a trial and he doesn't just plead to the court guilty at the beginning, if it goes to a jury, they're going to hate this guy for stuff like this. That recording is so bad, it makes him look like a sociopath.
It is so bad. Claudia, real quick before we have to go, I know you have to have a reaction to the way he's saying, I'm the one she would come to.
I totally agree with you. It's disgusting the way he says that. And, you know, there's going to be more to come out, and there's no way he comes out of this looking good at all.
All right. Claudia, I know we have to say goodbye to you. Thank you so much for your expertise this hour.
All right. So her expertise is great. And I want everybody to see all sides of this case. If you guys want to, if you can't wait, but you should check it out anyway. You should check it out in the meantime, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, where's this? Okay. Grizzly True Crime. A lot of you people came from Grizzly True Crime, and thank you, Janet. I appreciate that. Grizzly True Crime is completely, you can go watch 6 to 8 hours of the breakdown right now on Grizzly. Oh, what happened here? Hold on, let me hit the back button. I was right on there. No, it didn't just do that to me. Okay, so we're gonna go back to Grizzly, even though it's showing this. So Grizzly True Crime did a lot of the timeline. No, this is just okay. Hold on, let me this is not what I wanted to show you right now. It completely got messed up on my part. So let's listen. This is part 1. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. Part 1 of new details revealed in search warrants, incident reports, and interviews. And Grizzly True Crime is the queen of true crime, in my opinion. And she's talking about what happened, and she filled in the blanks with the roommate. All right.
Amber said this guy is sick. Really, really is. I think he's in Florida, earned himself that death penalty, right? Oh my goodness. I know there's mixed feelings about that, of course, worldwide and all of that, but this guy is just so vile. I don't mind it that they are seeking the death penalty. It's going to be a death penalty case and trial, right? Welcome to all the new members. So they say he straight in the apartment, right? He then contacted to let him know. Okay, then Stephan starts contacting family members. Not Jen, huh? Also something to note. He starts contacting family members. Be on the lookout, so she may be walking to them. According to Stephan, this is when.
Yeah, don't you think that's weird that he's contacting family members and not her, knowing the family doesn't like him already? But I do believe that he was contacting family members because they were already, she was uninvited to Maddie's birthday party. Okay, so when she was uninvited, that was already like a rift between her mom and that side of the family, and it was about Stephan Sterns.
When everything started going downhill. I then asked Stephan if it was normal for Redacted to not have a phone, to which he replied, so Madeline was severely ADHD, as is her mother and he.
Nope.
Stephan advised that due to this, it was not unusual for her to forget her phone. It's a prepared script. It feels prepared, right? It's sounding very prepared between him and Jenn Soto, like this is the story. I asked Stephan if she was on medication for ADHD, and he stated that she normally took her medication. Now, again, how does he know this? Because he was apparently already, they had broken up and were not living together for about a month before this date. Where do I get that information? I believe it was on Guilty of Crime, where Jay interviewed, that's channel, Guilty of Crime. Jay interviewed one of Jenn Soto's former roommates or something like that. I think that's where I got that info, that they had been broken up and the time frame in which they were broken up about a month before, which is why he's like,
there you go. The queen of true crime, Grizzly True Crime, Gisela, and she looks at all sides of things. She's did a dump doc already. There's like 8 different videos that or 8 different hours, 6 to 8 hours, and she's just completely gone through everything. I think Jen didn't contact the family because she wanted to avoid being further questioned. I believe so too. She stayed behind the scenes, folks, and he came back to Jen and made sure to pack his special anchor. Yeah, exactly. He made sure to bring his lotion. The family and Jen were not in good terms. I agree with that. I understand that we've been talking about that the whole time. I really just want you to see the channels that give you real information. Thank you. Hello, Tammy. The real information is our channels like Grizzly True Crime. So she's able to see all angles and actually fill in what actually happened instead of just making things up. What a beautiful person. I'm dedicated to American true crime, and she does it so well. Yeah, she broke it up in 3 parts. There are so many documents. I haven't even got through anything today, and we're already at 2 hours, folks. So, all right, let's listen to her for a second. Then put down. I just wanted you to see that, she got the information from us and the roommate.
Like, oh, sometimes he just went there to help out or to visit, right? Spend time with him. But anyway, to say that Maddie had a week before not taking her medication due to being at her grandparents' residence most of the week. How does he know that?
Right.
That's a weird bit of detail he's showing there. What do you mean? So result.
And she's on point when she says that's a weird bit of detail, because what medication? And I wonder if he's trying to. I know that he probably did drug her, folks. Everyone's saying that he did. I don't think it was an accidental, accidental, and that's how she passed. I think that it was so he can take complete and utter control. Yeah, she's not biased, and I love that about her. She just states the facts. Yeah, state doesn't need Jenn at all. Let's listen a little more to this. I know we're at over 2 hours now.
Resulting in her being very spacey. Stephan then stated, I would assume Jenn's hours had changed at work, which is why he had driven up here to help. Ex-boyfriend was then called upon. Okay. Lariah says,
yes,
Gisela is going to develop the Sterns super flu. Is that worse than Kershevsky flu? If she reads this entire document, it makes Jesse look like a small fry. Sure does. 896 pages. Oh my goodness. So, I mean, again, this medication bit that he says here is very strange. And then he's saying that Madeline was being very spacey.
All right. So I'm not going to share this anymore. She's got hours, Gisela, from Grizzly True Crime. But I don't know if you guys have seen this. I wanted to show you the relationship between Stephan Sterns and Maddie and some of the things that the children or the school counselor talked about. We'll watch a little bit of this. We're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. I'm here. It's a Saturday. I wasn't even going to be here today, but it's making me not happy when channels are making things up and not seeing all sides of it and then just being narrow-minded about it. Even though I say hashtag arrest Jenn Soto, we can see what for. So let's play a little bit of this and see what Vinny's always, he did, I think this one, Gray Hughes comes on. And then after he comes on, he goes and streams on his channel. He streams on his channel opposite of what he says. It's really weird.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us on Closing Arguments. It's a tough story to talk about. But there are things that we are finding out that are incredibly troubling and somewhat confusing. And I want to try to shed a little more light on it tonight. And of course, we're talking about the case involving Madeline Soto, one of the last photos, if not the last photo of her from her 13th birthday party at a relative's house. Her mom wasn't there. When she went home, her mom still wasn't home, but guess who was? Her so-called on-again, off-again boyfriend, Stephan Sterns. And Stephan Sterns is the one that got her ready for bed. And then for whatever reason in the world, which none of us can figure out, Madeline's mom sent these two downstairs or upstairs to the guest room.
So this is the bottom line of what happened. He came over, waited for her birthday party to be over because neither one of them were invited. And then he got to spend time with her before Jenn came home. And between that time and in the morning, we want to know when it happened, what we think. And I'm going to give you my opinion right now. I think like right about 5 in the morning, but it could been anywhere between 4:30 and 6 in the morning. I say 6 a.m. because it gives him about an hour and 15 minutes to get her dressed back up. We don't even know that she was undressed, folks. He did it so often. He had it down. She could have already been dressed in the clothes she was dressed in. Who knows that she was undressed? You don't need to undress someone to do things to them. So, yeah, who's to say that she wasn't? And he just did things, slip things here, slip things there. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting, JC. That bothers me a lot. Grizzly, duty wrong. Grizzly, I'm grateful for live. First watch, respect the dedication, facts of justice. Thank you, Sandy. And Maddie deserves complete and utter justice because her story doesn't need to be kicked around for dollars. Kicking it around for dollars. Let's sit there for 5 hours and kick around ideas that are not even close to true because I don't know the whole story. I only know part of it. But also at the same time, give me money while I'm kicking around the can. Ridiculous.
While she slept by herself. Mom sleeping by herself. She wanted to sleep in. I worked late. I don't want anyone to bother me in the morning. So why don't you two go share a bed in another room alone? That actually happened. That actually happened. Now, we're learning more about
not funny.
what this dynamic was between Stephan Sterns and his victim, his alleged victim, Madeline Soto. This is Madeline apparently was speaking with a counselor at school. An investigator spoke to the counselor. Madeline.
Okay, so here's some of the analysis. Again, we're going to do this with just us talking and paperwork in the document dump. I'm not going to do 8 hours or whatever Grizzly True Crime did. So if you want to do it like a marathon, you can go to her channel. But we're doing highlights today, and then we'll just get to the document the next time. I just want you guys to know important parts that have been speculation so far, and it shouldn't be speculation because it's on paper.
Reported that her mom's boyfriend was living in the home and she didn't like him because he was weird. When she pressed the counselor, Madeline, about why she felt he was weird, she claimed it was because he ate all their food, hangs out in their living room, and makes her feel uncomfortable. Madeline reported in December that mom's boyfriend was moving out of the home, and that made her happy. She also never disclosed anything inappropriate happening between her and her mother's boyfriend. Since December, she started to report things were getting better at home and at school. Their last check-in was on February 6, 2024, and Madeline reported that she was really happy and things were good with mom and at school. Okay. One more interview. This is with Madeline's friend. Remember, she's 13 years old. Madeline's friend further stated that Madeline only mentioned her biological father briefly, but she was always on a call with her stepdad, Stephan. Stephan and Madeline were always texting each other or talking on the phone. Madeline loved him, and they were really close. Stephan is Madeline's mom's boyfriend, and he's been in her life for a long period of time. Stephan recently moved out of the home, but he still visits often. Stephan and Madeline's mom were also very close. Madeline talks to Stephan at least 2 to 3 times a week on the.
Now, remember, he just came over there for her 13th birthday after the party to go see her specifically, and then Jenn sent them to sleep together. So this is where everybody has a problem. I don't think she was invited, Sherry. I think she was absolutely not invited, and Stephan wasn't invited. And if Stephan's not invited, I'm not going either. That's what I could imagine Jennifer Soto saying. FR, I missed you, Jay. Hello, Michelle. I was only gone a couple days, but I missed all of you. And I was getting really heated when I'm hearing all this misinformation when you can see it on a document.
The phone, but also texts with him. She usually talks to him on the phone in the afternoon and at night. And then it's either Madeline or Madeline's friend described Stephan as very interested in Madeline, and Madeline would tell him about things going on at school. Madeline never disclosed to her anything inappropriate that Stephan said or did, and she's never witnessed anything inappropriate between Madeline and Stephan. Normally, Madeline's mom or grandparents bring her to school. She does not recall a time when Stephan has ever brought Madeline to school. So that's from her friend. Let me bring in our experts and our guests joining us.
See, isn't that really weird that the friends say they never recall? So why that morning? Why did do you think Jenn was at the condo cleaning stuff up? And well, she went to her appointment just so it didn't seem odd, but that she was help cleaning anything up. And I definitely think she's complicit. I don't know how much they're going to find out or what she's going to tell or what Stephan's going to. I think Stephan's not going to talk, but what was she doing in those other hours? You got to Giselle. Go back and watch the videos. Tyler Wallace is definitely loves Maddie. He lives in Texas, and there's a lot of parental alienation going on when you live in Florida and someone lives in Texas. Father's in the military, travels a lot. You got to go back and watch the Madeline Soto playlist. There's a whole bunch of stuff on Tyler Wallace. All right, let's listen a little more, and then if you guys want to ask any questions, I did want to tell you about the parking lot and the parking garage. When Maddie's body was moved, I'm going to read this from the document, page 36. On March 1st, one of the detectives, Detective Leonard Jones, responded to area of Destination Parkway and John Young Parkway canvassing for evidence, at which he responded to the Holiday Inn vacations and requested to see video surveillance. At which the time he observed a silver Lincoln MKZ. Okay, now we know what car for sure. It was the silver Lincoln MKZ turn onto the business property from Emissary Avenue, and then he turned into the parking garage and drove to the top level. He backed into a spot. Now we're talking about Stephan Sterns. He then observed Stephan Sterns exit the driver's side of the vehicle, opening the trunk while going around the vehicle to the passenger side, opening the passenger door, and carrying out what looked to be like a limp, deceased female. And he put her into the trunk closing. Stephan got back into the driver's seat and started exiting the parking garage. Okay, so that was the other portion of the that was the other hotel. There were two hotels, one where they had to stay because they were looking at the, what I'm going to say, alleged crime scene, and one where he just drove in and moved the body. Yeah, absolutely. She may have cleaned up for him. There's verbal leakage in that. There's verbal leakage when he's talking about cleaning up. They cleaned up in the morning. Well, we know that was the morning that Maddie passed. So there had to be cleanup at the crime scene, folks.
Us in Orlando, Florida, psychotherapist and CEO of Life Counseling Solutions, Dr. Janie Lacey, true crime live streamer on YouTube, Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates, who yesterday released a brand new episode.
Okay, so let's listen to what Mr. Gray Hughes says, and then you got, there's a lot of people coming to me. I'm not watching or doing anything with Gray Hughes, but he's on Court TV. We're playing Court TV. So if you listen to what he says, and then I have a lot of people coming to me upset about how he treats people. I don't know why you're coming to me about it. I appreciate you communicating with me, but when you come to me and say all these things, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. I already don't go on his channel. I went on one time and was asking questions, and he said, guilty of crime. This is not about you. I'm not here to answer your questions. And he basically kicked me off. And then talked about my channel as a low-level YouTuber, and said that when I stick these comments up, like sometimes you guys will get it out about, I stick everybody's comments up. So someone will say something and they'll put like whatever about him, and I'll post it up like I do now. I post all of everything up. So I guess somebody went back and reported that to him, that I post up comments about him. I post everything that you guys give me. But when you guys are coming to me and telling me things, guess what? I'm listening. So let's listen to what he has to say on Court TV, and then what he says on his channel and how he treats us. He treated me like that. So, and then he says, oh, Gray, oh, we're whining. And then he makes fun of us and says we're crying about it afterwards. And then he wonders why no one wants to give him money. Unbelievable. That's all. I experienced it firsthand. So no, Mr. Hughes, I don't cry. I haven't cried in years, so I'm not crying about it. But it's very rude for a host to even say that and call someone an idiot. So let's listen.
So diving into all of these Madeline Soto documents, check it out after the show. Not before, but after or during. Also joining us, forensic criminologist Dr. Laura Petler, and finally also in Orlando, editor of the Osceola News Gazette, Ken Jackson is with us. Dr. Janie Lacey, I'm going to begin with you on this, what I just read from the counselor, from Madeline's friend. What do you hear in this? What do you sense?
Yeah, I'm not into drama. I'm into facts. I only have time for the facts, folks. I only have time to research facts and to bring you facts. And so that is drama for hits, I guess, but I'm not into it. And he doesn't know all the sides of the story because he's leaving out the roommate that brought the other side, which Grizzly talked about, or he would know that Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns were not together for that long. They've been off and on. They were broken up, and she sent Maddie to a broken up old boyfriend to go sleep on her birthday. Happy birthday, Madeline. Here's your present. Here's your present. Do you love your present? Remember, she said we gave Maddie her present. She loved them. I bet you did.
What does it mean about the dynamic and what was going on here?
Well, what that would mean to me is that Madeline knew that she had to probably keep this as a secret. And this probably happened very early on, right? When we think about threatening her and secrecy and perhaps understanding some type of consequences. Abusers normally put some type of fear out there and they control the relationship. So as her friend was describing the constant texting and communication, abusers normally will control that relationship, but they do it methodically because over time there's been trust that's been built and there's been a connection and there's probably been some level of isolation and probably she's been used to him being a resource to her and the mom. So when I hear the interview by the therapist, I would also hear that there was obviously some concern there, but this part would probably be the deep, dark secret that she was keeping.
Ken Jackson, as I'm listening to this, it seems an incredibly thorough investigation. They're speaking.
Thank you all. I appreciate every single one of you. And the only reason I'm even here is because you guys are here and you're fantastic. Thank you, Karen Best. Everything helps. You don't have to spend a penny if you just hit the like button so we can get in the algorithm. Teresa, I wanted to highlight yours because Chris, yes, everyone is emailing me, texting me, messaging me, and I love you all for it. Keep on sending me messages, but everyone's saying the same thing, defending Jen, and everyone's getting upset. And you guys know I'm an empath, so when you come to me and you're upset, it makes me upset, and so then we're all upset together. And then I come on here and I'm doing this episode. I'm still basing my facts on logic and reason, folks. It's just that I have more passion to bring it now. So don't get it twisted that I'm bringing emotion, because it's not emotion. It's called passion for what I do. And I love my folks and I'm an empath. So I feel what you guys feel. And I want to bring it and show you what the facts of logic and reason look like while still having passion and not hating my life.
Speaking to everyone connected to Madeline. Of course, it began as a missing person, then became a murder investigation. But from what we're hearing, it doesn't seem like Madeline told anyone about this.
Right. And what I've seen from the document so far, it just seems like there isn't that triggering term that, say, a counselor would be overly concerned about to take the investigation to the next step. Madeline kept this close to the vest if this was happening at home. She gave little pieces like the Stephanie creeps me out. He's home all of the time. But nothing that would overly concern an expert. This is a pattern of behavior in cases like this where there's abuse at home from an authority figure at home. And it's really actually sad to see that there wasn't just that little extra to make someone else outside a counselor or someone like that investigate more.
Absolutely. I want to read this, Greg, because this is another disturbing incident here. A coworker who I guess dated or.
So you guys are watching his channel. You hear what he says here and then versus what is said on the channel. Janet, thank you so much for the super sticker. I love you. And I love that you just have Janet. Janet, you're awesome. And it's easy to remember just Janet. Thank you so much. Much appreciated, all of you. And you guys can keep sending me those messages and you can keep telling me this. I'm here to listen. And it only feeds the fuel to my fire to get passion, to get the real details out there that are on paper that you can see. I'm not just making up stories and kicking the can for dollars, folks.
Had some sort of relationship with Sterns came forward. This thing is so high profile. The coworker stated that Stephan Sterns told her, although he was separated from his girlfriend, he still slept at Jen's residence and specifically in bed with Madeline. The coworker said that Stephan Sterns justified this behavior by saying he needed to cuddle with her so she could fall asleep. The coworker further recalled the conversation she had with Stephan Sterns where he told her that he woke up in bed with Madeline with an erection and had to turn around in the bed. He's telling this to a woman he's dating. The coworker felt the comments Stephan Sterns made to her about sleeping with Madeline were inappropriate, and she stopped talking to him. He is saying this stuff out loud, Gray, out loud.
Right now, Gray's going to answer this, and Pammy, we're going to get to that in Florida. Well, I might as well address it real quick now before Gray tells us what he thinks. 78.782.09, unaliving an unborn child by injury to mother is the same thing as unaliving the mother in Florida. So they would already have known that by now, unless they would already know that by now and they would have charged him with 2. So I'm going to have to say no. I'm not saying that at any point that she wasn't, and maybe he didn't give her the plan B, But there's also another one that it's still first degree, consisting of a capital felony if the mother's passing is committed and it's first degree. So I'm going to have to say, based on paper, no. But I appreciate that.
To a woman that he's in some sort of a dating relationship with. Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, what was he thinking that she would be excited about that? I mean, did she have a daughter herself and he thought maybe he could try? I mean, we don't know what the hell this guy's thinking, but that makes absolutely no sense that you would say that to a woman as if they would react in some positive way. I mean, her reaction was exactly how it would be.
Yeah.
Just creeped out.
Creeped out. Get away from me. I don't need to talk to you anymore. Dr. Laura Patler, looking at this case and trying to understand how he could get away with this for so.
I don't really know what input that just gave. I know there's a good old boys club, and it's very interesting to see the good old boys club. And I'm glad these ladies are bringing the heat and telling us real knowledge about this. But unbelievable that look, you're listening. I'm hearing that somebody's defending Jennifer Soto and saying, oh, they've been together for a long time. But we're talking about a girlfriend, a recent girlfriend that said he was sleeping in the bed with Maddie and he got a Woody and he turned around. So have they really been together that long? If you're defending Jen? No, we're just talking about a girlfriend right now. And what did you just say? Nothing.
So long. For so long, the allegations are it's going back years, this abuse. But it seems from everything we're hearing, he continued it even though he wasn't with Jen. Like, he's not even sleeping with the mother. He's just going over to the house to apparently abuse Madeline.
Right, Vinny, yes, it does appear that way. And in cases like this that we see that do result in violent crime or homicide, it's very often that the statements of the victim are not analyzed from like a statement analysis standpoint or from like a qualitative victimology standpoint. So sometimes it can be overlooked by professionals, or it's not caught by professionals. There are counselors or otherwise to the red flags that we would actually catch in statement analysis. So for him to be continuing to do this and her to be keeping the secret, a lot of times these offenders groom the victims to believe that they are actually having a secret relationship. And it sounded to me like, from the friend standpoint, that it's possible that there might have been something like that going on. It's very difficult for me to know because I can't actually hear or read what Madeline's words were exactly. That would be much more informative to me than the summation of it. So I think that it's very common in these types of cases. We've seen this, unfortunately, many times. And to keep a secret is definitely a motive for murder.
And I think definitely Maddie at some point probably leaked it here and there, but it was unspoken between, just unspoken between her and her mom. There's no way Jen, I know she looks dumb and she acts dumb, but she's not dumb. And the people that know her say she's not dumb. She just didn't catch on. No, I think it was just an unspoken thing. And thank you, Lori Blythe, and everybody that's still here. We've been here so long. I just want to get it all out before the week starts and give you the real information. And then we'll also come back and do the doc dump. But we're also, we have so much to get into. I'm not even going to be able to get into all today. All right, let's listen a little more.
All right, Dr. Jenny Lacey, I want you to listen to Stephan Sterns in his police interview. And again, this is another one of these.
I'm going to go a little bit further because we've heard a lot of this.
Images of other people that they're actually not sexually abusing physically. So like all of this goes hand in hand with being a sexual deviant, being a sexual sex offender type person that has these challenges and these issues that he clearly is dealing with, and then masking them under the guise of this gaslighting type power and control facade of, I am so great and I am doing all this for all of these victims. It's unfortunately, we hear that a lot from sex offenders.
I'm just going to put this out there, folks. Sterns caught with some form of lotion. At approximately 11:30, I assisted with searching a room in the residence on the second floor, identified by chrome number 4 on the outside of the door. Inside of the room,
Okay, so he hadn't been there in a month, folks. Jenn Soto doesn't look at anything that he brought in. She doesn't see nothing, that doesn't know anything. You can see what's on here, the low lotion, which he's going to say what it is. That it doesn't matter what I say because it's already going to be, demonetized at this point. So let's listen to this. Jen knows nothing. And just because she talks slow, don't let that fool you, folks. She has a whole bunch of medications on the counter, but she knows what she's doing. I've seen plenty functioning addicts with lots of pills or lots of whatever that know what they're doing. That doesn't take away the culpability of her one iota.
I located a black backpack which had one orange bottle of Solo lotion in it. The back of the bottle identified the product as masturbation cream. Does anyone want to say anything about that? We can just leave it there.
It goes hand in hand with everything else that we've heard.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Petler, did you have something on that?
Yes, I mean, another behavioral pattern that we see in these types of offenders is where they actually will go and sit somewhere and watch other types of victims, where they're not actually physically assaulting them, but they're in their own contained space, they're in their own vehicle, and they're watching them say, for example, a park or a parking lot or somewhere else where they can actually see what is triggering them, what is sexually arousing them, and then, of course, the items there are used for their own means.
All right, everyone's staying with us.
This is very disturbing. I know, trigger warning. And it's funny, I walked away and more people came on. Should I just walk away for a little bit and let you guys watch the intelligent and almighty good old boys? All right, just kidding. I had to make a joke. I've been very heated and passionate lately.
Coming up next, we're going to track Madeline's body and where it was transported, what we have found out, and the state.
All right, this is perfect. Now it's going to get it all out, folks. We're going to see. I was going to do map time today. I didn't know if I had time, but I have time. Yes, and I'm going to preach it. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to show you the evidence. We're doing this now, but I also have the documentation to prove it, folks. And I've been right the whole time about this case before the paperwork came out, because you know what detectives do? I'm not a detective, but I put pieces together, talk to people, interview people, and then line everything up. So I'm just not making assumptions here.
State of the body and what it tells us.
All right.
Sterns through.
Hold on.
Let's take a look at how we're tracking all this. Jen stated the last time she had physically seen Madeline was on February 25th, 2024, 2300 hours, 11 o'clock at night, when she sent her to bed with Stephan Sterns. Next day, 7:35, videos captured the trash compactor on the property show a male determined to be Stephan Sterns. Sterns threw a white trash bag filled with items inside the trash compactor before pulling away. A female, believed to be Madeline, is visible in the front passenger seat. Her head is visible, tilted on her left shoulder, and her mouth was open. She was belted into the seat. Sterns is then...
Okay, right here, I have to stop and tell you that I truly and utterly believe that Maddie was passed away at this point. By the way, that Sterns panicked and threw the bag away at a separate time and did this and was headed somewhere, but then got a flat, went back to the house with her body belted into the seatbelt. I'm going to say 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, anywhere between 4:30 in the morning and 6 o'clock is when she passed away. I do believe it was either an accidental asphyxiation. Girlfriends said that Stephan Sterns liked to be rough. We haven't even talked about his filming of the roommates either, but he liked to be rough. He may have gotten too rough with too many drugs. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there that night. But I just wanted to tell you, I do believe she was passed away in that seatbelt, and there's no other explanation for it.
Spotted leaving the complex in his Lincoln through the rear gate at 7:50 with a female wearing a green sweater in the front seat. The person appeared to be sitting upright with her head slumped over to her left side. 8:19, the Lincoln appears at the front gate, and Sterns interacts with the security guard before being allowed to enter. 8:31, he leaves through the rear gate, again with a female and the front passenger completely slumped over to the left. Then this is the big one that we learned. 9:40, the vehicle turned into the Holiday Inn Club Vacations property, proceeded to the parking garage. Male exits the vehicle, opens the trunk, walks to the front passenger side, opens the door, and carries what appears to be a limp body to the trunk of the vehicle. Then witnesses see him pull off of Hickory Tree Road, tire iron in his hand.
And this is what I read to you earlier, the first portion of it. And this is how this demon got caught. I have so many more things to show you and so many more episodes that we'll get into. When what I do is I see all the comments and I see all your questions. I'm listening and watching when I'm not on, and I answer those. That's how I make my episode. I make sure to get you the information that you want to know, need to know, and that I have. Thank you, Fidel Ramos. Appreciate your channel and your reviews, my friend. First time messengers. Well, thank you. And since I stopped for a second, I also wanted to thank, oh shoot, I missed this. Thank you, Jax Stormo, for the super sticker. I'm sorry I missed it. For everybody that sent anything today, I appreciate you so much. I totally missed it. Janet, I said thank you. Jax, I missed it. Thank you, Jack Stormo. Thank you, Stacy Pruitt. You're one of my favorites. Fidel Ramos, you're new. Love the black cat. My black cat passed away actually on the day before my birthday 2 years ago. I'll never get another cat again. Can't replace whatever's your best. That was my best animal. All right, let's go. I almost cried over my animal. That's why I'm passionate about this little girl.
The witness made eye contact, stated he was not exactly sure, but it was around 13:20, 1:20 in the afternoon. Let's bring back in our guest. We have one more expert we're adding to our panel, a board certified forensic pathologist.
All right, so we're gonna answer questions at the end, but Michelle, you're one of my favorites. I'm gonna answer this for you the best I can. I believe that Stephan Sterns' dad was at the hotel with him because he always got him out of trouble. His parents got him out of trouble. And you remember in the video when he says, are you going to take my phone long? I need it to my dad needs to get a hold of me. That's why his dad knew he was in trouble and he was coming to save him, and he stayed at the hotel with him. That's why. And Stacy, this is for my spelling time with the glasses. That's okay. I wear glasses too. These are prescription sunglasses, and it's bright in here, so I have to wear them. Otherwise, I won't be able to be on here long, and I'll get a headache, folks. So, all right, let's keep going. I appreciate you all. I'll answer questions as soon as we're done with this video, I promise. And then I'll keep covering it next week.
Dr. Priya Banerjee, joining the rest of our guests, Gray Hughes, Dr. Laura Petler, and Ken Jackson. Dr. Banerjee, let me ask you this. I'm going to describe the way she's being described. And from this, what does it tell you? Again,
you guys are adorable. Stacy or Stella Fussell. That is my name. That's why. Jay is I used to do I've been doing tattoos for 25 years. My name is Janine. Now you all know the big secret's out. That is my name. That's my real true name. And Jay came from that. So that is it. You've got it. You found me. Janine Scott. All right.
And tilted on her left shoulder with her mouth open, belted into the seat. Then next, she's seen upright with her head slumped over to the left side. Then she is seen completely slumped over to the left. And then an hour after that, an hour and 10 minutes after that, her body is limp as she's carried out. At what time could this murder have taken place if all of these things begin at 7:35 in the morning and she's still?
And this is how I gauged my answer. I think anywhere between 4:30 and 6 in the morning to give him enough time to make sure she was dressed. He grabbed all the stuff he could, et cetera, et cetera. Everything was done in a panic. And I know how bodies work and what I know about rigor mortis kicking in right away. And I understand all that. I've studied all of that, and I've watched all the autopsy shows my entire life, enough to know about rigor mortis and decomposition and when bugs come and how. And I'm not an expert at anything, but I know a lot about everything. So just trust me on that. Thank you, Michelle Donovan. Here's my point. Let's listen to these experts talk, and you'll see why I came up with my time.
Limp at 9:40.
Probably, I mean, what you're getting at is what rigor mortis or
Yes.
postmortem changes. And so we have to think, that usually starts 2 hours or so after death. So I'm thinking he killed her and then put her in the car, making it look like she's sleeping, trying to fool everybody, right? And then has this whole incident with the tire iron.
Well, let me ask you this. Would the body be limp like that if she's murdered the night before, 6.5 hours beforehand?
I think that's less likely. I think it was more towards the morning because your rigor mortis in general forms 8 to 12 hours. There's really peaked 12 to 24 hours. So we would be hitting that real stiff period, barring any other exposure or chemicals, whatever, if it's going more textbook, if you will. And so I think, this young, healthy girl was probably killed closer to the morning. I'm not saying she wasn't hurt or harmed in any way prior to that, but absolutely killed was probably closer to the morning.
Okay, Gray Hughes, 8:19. Why is he going back at 8:19 and then leaving at 8:31? Because he's...
All right, trigger warning, folks. And the reason I'm playing this is because it clears up a lot of things for everybody. I'm reading your comments. I might not answer all of them, but I'm listening to what you have to say. I can't answer every email. I love you all, but that's why I'm on here. I do it live. I don't hide behind the thing and then record it and then back off. I'm right here, so you can say anything you want right now. Whatever you got to say, get it out. Let's go.
To even get into the complex at 8:19, he's got to speak with the security guard, and she's got to be right next to him.
Yeah, I mean, she's seen on camera 3 times, 7:50, 8:19, 8:31, and actually a 4th time at 9:40, right? And so at 8:19, he comes back, but what is he doing between 8:19 and 8:31 when it leaves again? She would still have to be propped up in the car, but did he cover her with a blanket because somebody might have walked by? And then what was interesting about what that in that press conference that officer said was that we believe that she was moved in the early morning hours. That doesn't seem to be actually quite accurate unless you're just talking about her being moved around for display purposes. She was moved around almost like, I hate to say it, like Weekend at Bernie's, where he's just driving around. She wants to be seen. I mean, he wants her to.
He doesn't hate to say it. He said Weekend at Bernie's like 27 times. When I heard him say that the first time, I cringed. But I was a subscriber to his channel at one point, and I did have respect until I got called an idiot with everybody else. And then at this point, it's all gone. So, yeah, no respect when I'm called an idiot or any of you. And I'm sorry that you have been called that. And I appreciate you for messaging me. I empathize and sympathize with you because I don't like that either. So disrespectful.
To be seen in the car because we know that her body was eventually moved. He'd already gone back to the apartment, waited for a while, and then at like 12:45, he took off with her body to place her where she was eventually found.
Dr. Laura Petler, this almost strikes me as some form of staging, like staging an alibi and a story of what he's doing that morning.
Yeah.
Yes, we here call that linguistic staging, Vinny. And basically it's what we've talked about before in other cases. It's the fiber of truth and the thread of every lie. And all of these.
Staging is real, folks. Many people stage. Serial killers are the #1 people that stage because after they done it the first time, done it the second time, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 20th, they start to begin to stage things and they want the cops, they want to be noticed. So in the Delphi, I'm going to give you a little leakage on my view of the Delphi. I believe it's Richard Allen. They have the right man, and he did a tiny bit of staging to make it look like it was an essay and a couple other things. The way he put the sticks, Odinists are in that small town, and it had nothing to do with Odinists. That's my theory. Nothing to do with this case, but I just wanted to say staging is real.
These behaviors meet his needs. And again, he is in control. He's in power here. So he is staging both visually and linguistically so that he can, of course, avoid apprehension and get away with what he's doing. But it is his plan. And sometimes they have a plan, but sometimes they don't. And it sounds to me like, he's one of those offenders that gets into what we call cognitive overload once you murder someone and they forget certain details. And like the issue of the rigor mortis and the time of death, I was thinking the very same thing. The body is limp and then the body is slumped over and all of these things. Yeah, it's absolutely an element of staging. It meets the definition of staging, which is to misdirect a death investigation before the police arrive or to just, cause some kind of white noise. And that's what he's doing.
Ken Jackson, this Holiday Inn Club Vacations property, I don't know if you've been by there yet.
Thank you, Davey. I love you just a little bit more. And I absolutely believe that Odinist connection is entirely made up and the sticks were random. That too. But I'm talking about the way the bodies were laid out was staging. One had clothes on, one had clothes off. The way I think that he staged to embarrass the one without the clothes. I don't mean that it was staged to look like an Odinist thing. I think that was random. And a lot of the pictures that are Photoshopped try to make it look like horns. It didn't look like horns. But when I say staging, I mean the way the one was dressed, the other one wasn't. That's what I mean by staging. I believe it was absolutely set up that way. And the one that fought the most, he embarrassed her by taking all of her clothes off. That's embarrassing. That's an embarrassing way to be found.
Do we know anything about this? Is there any sort of connection, or does it look like it may have just been a place he thought he could go and transfer the body to the trunk without people seeing him?
Right. Well, the report says that he went to the top level of parking garage. But see, this would have been on a Monday. It's not a real busy day for resorts, especially in February. It's before spring break starts. So this area, it's not really. It's almost like a low season for the tourism industry here. So he may have thought that it would be a place that had fewer people. Like I said, he went to the top of the garage. And the male moved the body there, so he was not within eyesight. What's funny is this whole scenario from the morning where he's seen at the dumpster to the afternoon where he's found on Hickory Tree Road. This is all happening in broad daylight. It's kind of an odd time for someone who's going to be moving a body. Yeah. And we also don't really have a whole lot of clarity between 9:40 when he's found at the Holiday Inn Vacation Club and that 1 o'clock hour where he's seen on Hickory Tree Road.
Yes, those things we need to figure out. And hello, Kitty Cat. You're awesome. I feel comfortable here with you, Jay, and the people here. And you always will, because people here, they know that it's not tolerated to, even if your opinion doesn't align. I need friends. Here, my husband passed and my mom, they both died. Thank you. We're here for you. A lot of people that come on the channel are like that, and they just want to talk about true crime and figure things out. And we're all here in the same community, and we think alike. And if we don't agree, we can agree to disagree.
Now, let's go to the part where the police discover Madeline's body. We noticed what appeared to be a body. The top half of the body was covered by a green-colored hooded sweatshirt, and the bottom half was covered in blue jeans. The body was laying on the left side in somewhat of a fetal position. It appeared that the body was covered by tiny pieces of hay or dry grass. Based on my training experience, it was apparent this was a human body. I did not see any signs of life. I could clearly see flies covering the body. Now, the description from the medical examiner. She was observed in a state of decomposition with visible insect activity around her mouth, left eye, ears, and right hand. Discoloration was observed on her face, neck, torso, back, and hands. Dr. Priya Banerjee, what can we glean from that?
Oh, as the mother of a young daughter, it's going to take everything in me to not be teary on TV.
Yeah, I didn't want to read this part, folks. It's in the very beginning of the document, and they started talking about the flies and remember, I have a 9-year-old daughter, so I was like, let me just put it on, let them read it. I read it, and I didn't want to read that. I don't want to read that or have that in my mind. Okay, Jennifer Kemp sent me $10 on PayPal. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And shout out to Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. You're awesome. Thank you so much. And to everybody. And if someone has something to email me, please email me. I'll put my email below.
But in all seriousness, I'm trying to set that aside of just how sad a case this is. You know, it's hot in Florida. This is a open sort of wooded area when the team was visited previously. And it's an open stretch of road. So this is a very typical area where all sorts of insect, animal activity can take place. And this is very characteristic, in terms of decomposition and insect activity. Insects are going to, feed on the body. That's just a normal reaction to anything decaying. So, flies don't know the difference, the human body decaying or animal matter decaying. And they're going to lay eggs, and then they grow into more mature flies through their life cycle. So then they feed on the body. And also the environment, the heat will dry out, sort of, decompose and darken her normal light complexion. And
yeah, if you're a true crime person, or as I like to say, a true crime addict, you really, truly know about this stuff. You've studied it and you become kind of immune to it, so to speak. But when it hits that close to home and you have a daughter of this age, it's hard you just don't want to go there. He really said beating the bushes, looking for her. Yeah, dead giveaway, 888 again, folks. So angel number, I read that earlier. And Jen also said, I can't breathe right now. And we hear that it's strangulation. So, verbal leakage at its finest.
And I'm sure they had to go through what I would say alternate means of identifying her. She's no longer recognizable based on that state of decomposition.
Let me ask you one more thing, Dr. Banerjee. I have a timeline here. 11 o'clock Madeline, that's the last time she's seen alive, right? So now 6.5 later takes us to 7:35. 7:35 to 9:40, Madeline is in Sterns' front seat for about 2 hours. 9:40 through 1:15, Madeline is in Sterns' trunk, roughly 3.5 hours. And then Madeline is outside in the field a little over 4 days, about 100 hours.
Okay, that completely clears it up now. How many days? A little over 4 days. I was like 3-4 days. There's so much information. And yeah, he could actually dress her alone. Angela, my daughter, I love my baby. She's about to be 10. And in the morning to get her up, she's very spoiled, we'll say. And she just kind of lays there while she's waking up. I get her dressed. She'll lift her leg a little bit, but mostly I dress her. She's my last baby, so he could absolutely dress her, but I don't know that she was undressed completely. I'm not sure he was bold enough in room number 4 to completely undress her in case somebody walked in. Remember, there were roommates, so he could have just pulled the little whatever. Okay, so that. Yes, he could absolutely dress her, and a lot of my son too. When he was younger, we would be early in the morning going from one place to another, and we dressed him while he was half asleep because our kids are spoiled. We love them, but it's not hard to do.
That trunk for 3.5 hours. Would you expect there to be some evidence of her being there?
Quite potentially. I'm not a DNA analyst, but I'm sure detectives.
Well, what's happening to the body? What's happening to the body?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in and of itself, that's acting like an oven, right? I mean, if you think about it,
No, he didn't throw he threw the laptop away at 7:35, but the tire, he didn't throw away till later. So he was moving around all over the place. Yes, I'm answering your question. It was the tire was thrown out later with the crock. So just get the timeline as 7:35 was when he did the backpack and such. So you imagine that she was already passed. I say anywhere between 4:30 and 6, probably closer to 6. He had about an hour and a half to do whatever he needed to get her in the car before everybody woke up. What's up, Melissa Johnson? I haven't seen you in a while. I hope your situation's better. Let me know how you're doing. Did you find a place, resources?
The metal box that in hot weather, nonetheless, there's going to be skin cells transferred potentially, maybe some fluids forming. So I think it's a very important step to look at that trunk. You need to connect her placement.
Yeah. Dr. Laura Petler, which do you think is going to be richer with evidence here? The field where she's found or the car where she's being transported all these hours?
The car, simply because it's going to be indicative of, again, time of death. And then once she's moved out there, I don't know what was found with her, but I did see that there was something about there was physical evidence found with her body. Who knows what he was trying to stage out there? Was he trying to stage a missing person, sexual assault, and then some kind of a dump, an abduction type?
So what I do think, I'm going to give you my opinion. I think he drove over there in that area to he was headed towards the area he knew where Jenn used to live. And he went over to kind of find a spot to take her. And he was a lazy, fat demon. He was lazy. He drove over to the area instead of getting out of the car, and he got a flat tire. He dumped her, and then he went and fixed his flat tire. He absolutely did not carry her across the street, I believe. And it just hit 888 again, folks. So it fluctuates. It goes up to 916 and then back down to 888. I've never seen 888 so many times in a row. So next wave is coming, folks. I don't care if anyone thinks I'm crazy, but the next wave of something big is coming. Jay, I think she knew what was happening. Absolutely. If you don't know, again, stupidity is not a defense. All right. So I'm just telling you what I think happened. And I think that he was looking for a spot to dump her. That's the only way I know how to say it. And he got a flat tire. He then panicked, threw out into the third bush area, and went and changed his flat tire on the other side of the road, folks.
Or run away or something like that. So I don't know exactly, but I believe that the car contains more evidence in a lot of these cases than a lot of times the dump site, because it's such a from the forensic path standpoint, same thing. There's such a large amount of decomposition and animal activity. Things can get strewn around. The car is a contained environment, and so sometimes a lot more information can be gleaned from that.
All right, Gray Hughes, as we sit here tonight, and I know you've gone through all.
And as we wrap this up, we're going to listen to his theory, and they completely just shut the show off after this. They don't even respond to this. And then if you're watching the channel, he'll go and talk about this. If you guys want to hear more on his theory, hey, go to his channel. If you guys like being called names, and they call them freaks. One time I was gifted a membership, and so I thought, hey, let me try it. I don't like being called a freak or an idiot or whatever else. So if you like that kind of thing, you should definitely go check out his channel. If you believe that Jennifer Soto was a victim and all that, you can be on our channel and on his. But I don't agree with this at all. All right, listen, and I do believe Jenn Soto is culpable of two solid things, and it's the same thing I'm going to say, and it's not based on emotion. It's child neglect and obstructing justice.
All these documents, are there any holes in this timeline, questions you have about a certain period of time or parts of the movement, either the night before or during that day?
I mean, we're not really going to get the answers of every little thing that was happening in between, 11 o'clock at night and 7 in the morning. But just listening to this conversation right here, it's made me really start wondering about something. Was Madeline actually not dead in those videos that we saw? That she was just really drugged and just out? Because we're talking about, there's such a fine line with the rigor mortis that you were talking about, and she was limp, it seems like, for at least 2 hours there. So she would have had to been killed at like 5 in the morning to.
So I'd like to ask him if he ever has seen a body that's been passed or studied rigor mortis and how it sets in and what happens and how long it takes to actually become stiff, and what situations, what scenarios make it rapidly go faster. Like if you pass natural versus taking your breath away versus drowning, because this is just an outlandish theory in my perspective to get people to come over and talk. Thank you, Pistol Amy. I love your channel. I'm a lurker, but had a comment. GH doesn't know why Vinny has him out there. The way he begs and guilts his 350 late night viewers to give money is so, yeah. And I'm just reading what my people are saying here. Absolutely. I don't understand other than the good old boys club. I cannot understand. I say beating the bushes. So thank you again for that super chat. I'm not trying to down people's channel. I really don't like drama, but it just sucks because I hear these outlandish things and I have people coming to me, and it really does suck to get all of these messages, and I'm too empathetic, I guess. So I have to speak out, and I wish I didn't. So sorry, I'm not trying to bring drama. There's plenty of channels who appreciate your POV. I'm a member of another community who believes BK is innocent, and I don't, but they never ever call me an idiot. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bruce. The first time I was called that and told that I'm not, that his channel's not there for me to be asking questions in chat, I probably only had like 5,000 followers at the time. It was just me watching true crime, and I was like, yeah, that's it.
Still be limp when she was carried out of the car to put in the trunk. Wow. So isn't that interesting? I mean, maybe in that hotel, he actually strangled her and then put her into the trunk right then.
Dr. Priya Banerjee, Gray Hughes, Dr. Laura Petler, Ken Jackson, thank you so much for your valuable time and your great insight. We'll do it again.
All right, y'all. Insane. Again, I don't want to be that channel that is, I really know I already know it's going to get back, and I'm going to get some heat for this, and I shouldn't have spoke out, but I had to because it's real. Hola. Hello, Jay. Love your channel. All right. If you guys have any questions, I'm still going to do a document dump. I have all these pages. It's easier for me to have the hard parts like that being read by Vinny and them and not having to read those. But we still have the document. We're talking about all the collabs. Today, we are talking about the body cam and how busted Jenn is, how to think like a cop, deception detective. And then we're getting out pieces of truth. Please hit that like button. That's all I ask. If you want to say I'm begging for likes, you're absolutely right. That's the only way I could be a credible content creator where people will listen to me and hear what I have to say and be able to get the interviews that I need to. I want to be on News Nation or Court TV where I have a voice and it can be heard with real information. I would never go on there and give my opinion, or I wouldn't even talk about angel numbers, folks. I hate to say that. I do believe in angel numbers. I am an empath, but that's way too personal. I really want to keep it facts. So I don't come on here and show you some of the things. I might do that if you subscribe, if you're a Crime Crew official. I might come on and do some like psychic stuff where the psychics go on and they've proven to help solve a case, because psychics do. Asking for likes is free. I do watch some of the psychics, the bigger psychics that help solve crimes. So that's just my personal opinion, but I don't bring it to this show because I don't want it to be like that. Okay. Question. If you have a question, say QQQ. The hotel it's not just Dad and Sterns. It's Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns had a room together. And where is that room? Interview. So the Holiday Inn is where Holiday Inn is where he moved the body, and the hotel they were at. I'm seeing if Bree is on. Bree, where are you at? You gave it. It's not in the pages. So Holiday Inn was where he moved the body, and the other one was what? Bree, where are you at? Say QQQ if you have a question. Okay, there it is. Thank you. It doesn't say that in the document. It just refers to a page. Town Place Suites Orlando at Flamingo Crossing is where Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns, after her life was taken. Maddie was murdered by Stephan Sterns, and Jennifer Soto was in a hotel with him, Stephan Sterns, and the dad was in another room. And I have the room numbers and everything. I just have to go back. All right. Town Place. Yeah, thank you. I don't know that area, and I have all these wonderful notes from Bree, but it refers to the pages, so I have to refer to it. And right now I'm not going to do that because I don't want to show you too much information. Nothing's redacted. So another thing about the Crocs is there were 3 white Crocs located in the downstairs bedroom, but those were other pairs. So we have more information. We have interviews with the friends of Maddie we can get into. Okay, so here it is. Stephan, and then they redacted it. Stephan and his father checked into hotel room number 239 at Town Place Suites Orlando at Flamingo Crossing. So they had a room. When I say they, Stephan Sterns and Jenn. And the dad had a room because the dad was notorious for bailing out his son. Why did Stephan need a hotel? Why did he not have a home? In which instance, Sherry? Okay, so they needed a hotel because the condo was a crime scene, folks. So the reason they got a hotel was because it was a crime scene. He did have a home. He lived with his parents. But his parents' house was like 3 hours away from where Jenn lived. And so he would drive back and forth to assault Maddie, essentially. He wasn't even with Jennifer Soto at the time that she sent him to bed with her daughter, folks. Does that mean anything? The condo was taped off and it was a crime scene. So everybody had to leave. And so therefore they went and got a hotel, and Daddy came. I wouldn't be surprised if Daddy came and paid for the hotel, folks. Okay, who else has questions? Sam Witch. Rigor mortis would have been set in, and she'd be stiff, able to be sitting up. I believe it was set. I believe it wasn't set yet, so she was to the side. Okay, that's perfect. So that gives the theory, and it helps me to give a theory that it was closer to 6 o'clock in the morning, which gave him about an hour and a half to scramble around. Now, technically, rigor mortis sets in right away, but I told you that not too long ago, Grandma passed. We were there up to 3 hours with the body, and it was still, I was holding her hand, I was kissing her, we were saying goodbye, and it wasn't stiff like, oh, no, it was still just like a regular body. but it's all going to depend on how a life is taken as well. But thank you, Sam. I'm glad you're on board that, yeah, she was able to sit up, and Rick and Mortis, it was later in the morning. Why was the dad there? I said what I said. You look amazing in that picture, by the way. Nice hair and glasses. The daddy was there because Stephan Sterns called him. Did you hear the interview where he says, I need my phone. I'm waiting for my dad to call. So daddy came to bail him out and comfort him, Stephan Sterns. He knew he was in trouble. I believe he knew he was in trouble. $200 a night. Thank you. All questions answered. Didn't know where his main home was located. I just, Sherry, yeah, I just want to answer questions now, and then I'll head off on my day. The family loves hanging out with me for some reason. I don't know why. Just kidding. Question: why did the father show up? Why didn't Jenn stay at her mother's? Well, again, Daddy always bailed out Stephan Sterns. Jennifer Soto and her mother were in a conflict over Stephan Sterns. Nobody liked him in the family. They all thought he was creepy. They didn't understand why he was there, acting like a stepfather. He also wasn't paying anything, okay? He was there living for free, being a filthy demon and bringing nothing to the table. The family didn't like him. Everybody's asking the same question. I don't know why. That's funny. Do you guys have any other questions? The Lincoln car. Thank you, Bree. The Lincoln car Stephan was driving in, and the cell phone Stephan used were registered to Stephan's dad. Thank you. Daddy did everything for Stephan, including getting him out of trouble. And the mom did that, but parents got him out of trouble. Jay, just do you. We love you just the way you are. Thank you, Overprotected 111. More angel numbers 1111. And I am just doing me, girl. I am just doing me, but I have to address things. And I'm sorry because I just came from being a non-content creator to a content creator. And so me just watching YouTube and now doing YouTube is way different. And I don't understand why people get treated the way they do or let people treat them how they do and then still have a platform to do it on. It makes zero sense to me. Okay, I said what I said. Was there footage of him carrying her out of the house? I wish that we knew that. That is not shown at all whatsoever. They obviously have enough information to charge him and potentially give him the death penalty. So we don't have any of that. Sue, do we know where Jenn is? She's with the family that I know of. She's local, wherever her mom and her sister and all that. I also want to thank Lillian Perez for the $10 Cash App. Lynn, $5 Cash App. Thank you so much, both of you. And I'll thank you later if I see anything else come up. We don't know exactly where Jenn is, but I know she's with the family. I know they're watching as well. And sometimes I try to be cognizant of that, but I still believe what I believe. And I know the family doesn't like to hear that, but they're watching. And Jenn's with the family. She's not in a mental thing or anything like that, mental hospital. Jenn might have been a victim of SS, but this was her daughter and she should have been protected. I will agree with you, but I agree to disagree a little bit as far as her being a victim. I can see that a little bit, but she was mostly in control, Lori. So it's hard for me to find her being a victim in any way, shape, or form. Nerdy Cat, question. Not that it matters, but does anyone know why Jennifer and Stephan broke up? Well, they weren't very intimate and active, and we don't exactly know, but we know that they were more bonded on the friend side. So I'm speculating here. He was also dating other women. He was into kink, and he was also sleeping with her daughter at the same time. So could you imagine that he would not? I think they were more friends, Nerdy Cat. They started out as friends. They both had gastric sleeves, and I think their relationship was more of a friendship. Okay, so They were off and on for years, and I believe the on part was just so he can have access to Maddie, and she wanted somebody around because she's very insecure and she didn't have anyone else around. She wanted that man, that babysitter, and she handed him to Stephan Sterns to do what he will. I'm a bit confused. The guard he passed with Maddie the first time he left. What about the guard? I believe they talked to the guard, and I think they just thought she was sleeping. I don't think there was nothing to show or see. Remember, she was in a hoodie. She probably had her hoodie up and was laying there sideways. I'm not sure if I could help any other way. All right. Yes. Not a hot pepper, a spicy Latina. He said he was broken up with his ex-girlfriend, but he got himself another little hot Latina. Maddie was in fact a Latina, and we know he liked little girls. So how was Jenn a victim? She got a free house, free money, free drugs, free life, and all she had to do was pump out her kid. Savage Barbie, I've been answering your questions, and I love your style. I do not see any way, shape, or form that she was a victim either. I think she was absolutely in control of the situation. She was the puppet master, and the way she controlled Stephan was with her daughter. Justice for all. $2 super chat. Guilty of crime. Great channel. Learning a lot. Thank you. And that's what I want. I want you guys to learn and hear the case. Listen to the details of what we're saying so that we don't get a bunch of misinformation out there. And why the theories when we have so much paperwork? Question. Do you think Maddie was groomed enough that she had Stockholm syndrome? Yeah, I do. I do believe that at one point she was groomed to an extent that she thought she loved Stephan Sterns. But remember, you can love someone when you're a kid and want to be with them and look forward to the intimacy, and then you change your mind and you want a new boyfriend. So I think that's a big part of what happened is at some point when, yeah, she was absolutely groomed enough to not tell anyone. And she probably thought she loved him at one point. But guess what? You break up with boyfriends, and that's what he wasn't going to have. All right. Sweetie Brooke hair. I got another like 5 minutes, folks. So please give me some good questions. Did the father help? What? Tyler Wallace lived in Texas, if that's what you're talking about. And he absolutely loved his daughter. They were heartbroken. They could barely even talk. I'm not sure, Sweetie Brooke hair. Brooke hair. Where that came from. No, he did the best he could. Is it because the small? No, it's not. I am Spanish and Puerto Rican, folks. No Filipino, but I know my eyes are low. It's like my mom. My mom looks like that too. Yes, facts. And that's what I'm trying to get out there. I really want you to know what's going on until you grow up and know the difference. Absolutely. Little hot Latina. That's Maddie. Yes. He said, Stephan Sterns said he was broken up with his girlfriend, now ex-girlfriend, which is Jenn Soto. But not to worry, I have a hot little Latina. He was referring to Madeline Soto. That's what I believe. Where the other roommates were home. Everybody was home. Remember, this was early in the morning, and he left before everyone got up. Jenn said she heard somebody in the kitchen. She thought it was Stephan and Maddie. Stephan said, oh, I came to get the dog leash or whatever he said. I don't have the paperwork in front of me. So the roommates were there. They had 4 bedrooms, folks, and a makeshift room. I hate that she didn't tell. I do too. She wouldn't be an angel right now. She'd be here with us, and she'd need a lot of therapy, but that would be much better. Interesting concept of her. Well, she held the cards, Amy. How could she not have been the puppeteer on a lot of levels? It was her house, her daughter, her money, her rules. She was comforting him. And then she also was using the story that he gave her. And then anytime he said anything in the videos, she would snap at him. She had all the control, folks. Does anyone else? Someone has to have ring footage. I hope they do. Okay, so if there's no more questions, guys, I got about 2 minutes. Father lent his phone, so Stephan Sterns can avoid being tracked, pinged on cell phone tower. Probably, he had 2 phones. He remember he had the Samsung, and then he had that new iPhone that was fairly new that he accidentally what did he say? He accidentally got rid of. Anyway, all right. So, and if there's no other questions, then I gotta put my groceries away. Jenn is a master manipulator. Yeah, I don't think she was just dumb, folks. She held the cards. She if you're playing poker, she had all the aces. What did he have? He had a broken down bucket of a car and a broken down old phone that his daddy gave him. She had the nice condo. She had the daughter that she was giving him for years. Her room, the number 4 room. I mean, what did he bring? Did anything come out of the hotel? No evidence, nothing. All right, Melanie. Thanks, Jay, and chat, everyone. This live very much. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate you. Will you enjoy the rest of your weekend? I am. My groceries just got here, and the food's here, and my family's waiting. So if there are no more real questions and you guys are just being sweet, then I'm gonna say what I always say. Okay, one more. Mr. Bear, you've brought a lot of info to us. How's your house coming? Thank you for all you do. Well, they just finished the next round of taking out all the stuff in our room, like everything that was affected with asbestos, throwing things away, cleaning things, and ripping out the asbestos. The asbestos testing was done yesterday, and by Monday, we should have the answer if all the asbestos is gone. Next step is to get a contractor, get a quote, and rebuild our house. So thank you for asking. We'll timeline this so whoever doesn't want to hear my nonsense could not. Love to you all. Love you, love you, love you. And thank you, Jay. You are amazing. Well, keep coming back. Okay. Queen, real talk. Prayers for you for Monday. I love you all. You guys are so fantastic. On that note, please don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. The more you hit the like button and share this content and then go rewatch the other stuff, the better content we'll have. Love you all. I'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?